Okay, we're live.
Yeah, can you like that?
Um,
Sorry, good morning. I'm opening this meeting of the Village of Point Edward, March 21st at 9 o'clock to do
You want
our budget.
Yeah.
So land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that this land on which we are gathered today is part of the ancestral land of the Chippewa, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, referred to collectively as the Anishinaabe. It is through the connection of the Anishinaabe with the spirit of the land, water, and air that we recognize their unique cultures, traditions, and values. Together as Treaty people, we have a shared responsibility to act with respect for the environment that sustains all life, protecting the future for those generations to come. Is there anyone with pecuniary interest? It's closed now, or if it comes up later.
Yeah, I have a couple coming up.
Okay, thank you.
Not here.
Just Paul, okay. And that's Arena?
I have my son as a
fire,
firefighter in the
Okay.
village, volunteer firefighter, and Point Edward Minor Athletic with their donation. They've hired me
Perfect.
for,
Okay.
so they're pumped on that.
Okay, thank you. So at this point in time, I'm going to turn over the meeting to Paul Burgess, and Paul is current chair of finance, and he will run us through our process for the 2024 capital budget. Thank you, Paul.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna roll through this preamble pretty quick. Good morning, welcome to the Village of Point Edward's 2024 budget deliberations. Capital and operating budgets submitted by department staff were reviewed in this meeting. In past years, the budgets have been reviewed by staff and various committees prior to today's meeting. Efforts have been made to make efficient use of available funds and meet the challenges presented by rising costs. There are a number of new reserves that are being proposed in the capital portion of the budget. These reserves help the village pay for the anticipated upgrades that will be required to keep the village operating smoothly. The reserves help to ensure funds are available when expenditures are required. The village is entering into the 5th year of collecting the municipal accommodation tax. We've employed the strategy of using the current year generated prior to. So we're going to operate with the 2023 tax that we've already collected. A couple of the MAT tax collected in 2023 will be put into reserve for the eventual replacement of playground equipment at the waterfront park. We're currently budgeting $1,698,480 as revenue from the casino. This is the actual revenue from 2023. In 23, we were cut short by $1,981 while the casino was closed for 3 weeks. The capital budget this year proposes spending $9,597,533. This leaves us with a deficit of $1,550,000. There will need to be expenses cut or revenues found in this amount to balance the budget. Some of the highlights: ice resurfacer at the arena, adding to the reserve for engine truck replacement at the fire hall, air packs, some upgrades at the library, reconstruction of St. Clair Street, continued underground infrastructure and assessment, waterfront park, contributions to the Bayview Storm Station reserves, 150th anniversary of reserve. The village's 150th anniversary is coming up in 28. Current operating budget proposes a tax increase of 6.74%. A 1% increase in taxes generates approximately $29,500 for the village. There are a number of factors that will influence the increase of taxes required to balance the budget. A few of those items we've already covered. County of Lambton has established their tax rate of 5.5%, which will be blended in the village rate, and the education levy, which is determined by the province and has not yet been determined. This blending impacts 2024 property tax and how it affects our residents. As you can see, our challenges today is to approve budgets that serve to allow the municipality to provide the best service with minimal impact to our taxpayers. So we're going to start with the capital.
Yeah.
And what's our first?
Arena.
This is arena.
Okay.
Well, I think we should go through the revenues first. just-
Okay.
I mean, and then we'll get into the arena. So we're proposing the same number as was generated. Hopefully that microphone's picking up the voice. Proposing the same number we generated in 2023 for casino revenue. There was a $25,000 grant we were proposing, hoping to receive from the provincial government for emergency management expenses. We have found out that grant was not successful, so we took that out as a revenue. We've added in a $10,000 revenue for a trade-in of one of our Kubotas there's a recommended purchase of a new one, and the $10,000 looked up as a revenue from trade-in of the used one. Everything that's highlighted in here in green is revenues to offset the expense of St. Clair Street reconstruction. So those 6 or 7 lines there add up to the $6 million that is proposed lower on in the budget. And then we have transfer of MAT tax of $260,000, and that is from the 2023 what was generated in 2023. So our total revenues come out to my eyes are getting bad, just over 7.9 million. Is any discussion on those before we get into the expenses? We can always come back to things too. Yeah.
Okay, so we move on to the arena expenses.
The last.
Do you want me just to go through them?
Sure,
Item by
and
item?
Council Monitor, that's your committee.
Sure.
If there's anything that you wanna
Sure.
help out with.
Okay, the first item is concrete floor repairs in the Olympia room. This is carried forward from last year. I think we need to do some more research on this to see what options are available for this. The next item would be the arena roof inspection. That's just the legality that has to happen every 5 years for insurance purposes. The Olympia Reserve, there is a plan to purchase a new Olympia in 2025. The current one is from 2013. New exit emergency light signs, that is just to upgrade our existing ones from the old red style to the new green style that's out there. 3 new dressing room heaters for inventory. Actually, I could use 2 of them right now. I have 2 heaters out right now. The issue is when they break down in the middle of winter, you can go a couple weeks without heat in a dressing room. Get lots of complaints. Portable audio controls for timekeeper's box. This is actually for anywhere in the arena. It would be give anyone the ability to plug in an iPad, iPhone, whatever they want into a little receiver and play the music or Bluetooth throughout the arena. I think this would be good for special events, or it would also give timekeepers the ability to play music during stoppages of play from the timekeeper's box. Compressor 2 rebuild has obviously already been completed. I believe it came in under budget. We just paid that invoice. Ride-on scrubber batteries have been ordered as per Jim. That was for a ride-on scrubber that we use for the rink floor and around the arena in the winter. Hockey nets is an item we replace every 2 years. And the last item was the Pima push button lockage lock for storage room. I think I've come up with another idea for that, and I'll work with the miner, but it'll be a minimal cost.
And the hockey nets is being proposed to pay out of MAT.
Just on that too, the Olympia Reserve last year was taken out of MAT, and I don't see it as listed as MAT this year.
You don't have as much,
What's that?
you don't have as much revenues coming in
Okay,
through MAT.
Mayor.
You still can, but then something else is gonna
yeah,
go.
yeah. Okay.
So in regards to Matt, I was going to talk this later, but in regards to Matt, I think I don't want to say abusing, but we're being very wide with our reach with Matt tax personally. I think the ongoing maintenance and capital for items should really be first to our budget versus Matt. So and we are trying to do more tourism related items with Matt in the coming years, so I would be cautious doing that. The signs, Derek, is it just the green panel or the actual whole fixture you're
The
looking
whole
to
fixture's
replace?
gonna be replaced.
Okay,
We'll do lights.
and are the current ones not LED or,
They're not LED, no.
okay, good, yeah,
Look behind you, Greg.
yeah, no, I know,
Done.
yeah.
Any question?
I said, I have one more. Sorry, Marion. The Olympia Reserve, how much is in that now?
You have a sheet of all the reserves.
Approximately 55,000,
Is there now?
give or take a few bucks.
Because we took some out to do the maintenance plans, right?
So we have 2 years of collection. Left, right?
115. Or so if we put this in.
And how much is in new Olympia, Derek?
Anywhere from 140,000 to 160.
Hmm.
Depending on what option you get, there's the option for stainless steel chassis or of course stainless steel conditioners. All depends on what you get.
And what's the trading value ballpark?
Last year it was 20. I'm sure it's gonna go down as we get older, but I could do some more research on that too. It's hard for them to give us a number till they
Yeah.
see the machine.
And the 20, was that when it had the old batteries and before we overhauled it?
That was when the new batteries were in there.
Okay. Okay, and we have to find 730,000 in cuts? So,
Or increased revenue.
or increased revenue, yeah. Is it feasible to change that reserve for this year to 40,000? And still be able to replace the Olympian 2 time? Hearing nothing, okay.
Well, maybe 50.
Okay.
Like go down 10 and then see what else happens through the day. I mean, you can come back to it, but.
Is everybody on board with that? Is that doable, Derek?
Oh, sure,
Because we're not,
or you gotta put a.
I know.
Later.
well, we have
When you
to
purchase it, right?
Yeah.
recognizing
Yep.
what will happen when you go to purchase it, but we have a lot this year. Well, I would say that every year.
If I can just say, we gotta think about next year too. Because next year, with all the work we're doing this year, we're gonna have some debentures to pay, stuff like that. So our capital will be significantly less or what's left after, we gotta service the debt, if you will, on those. So we're gonna have less money next year to play around with. And look at the casino, we've lost, what, 30% of our income on that. So, we can delay, but at some point it's gonna get tough. So I'm just cautioning for the future.
We're also getting some new tax revenue. By that 5.
I think 10's a reasonable compromise though.
Yeah, that's why
Gives
I
us
didn't
a
want
little
those lows.
We'll take something
Go
from
down.
you.
Sure.
Can't just walk in and get everything you want.
I have one other question.
Marianne?
You were asking for 3 heaters. I was going to ask if we could maybe go 2 heaters, but now you're saying you need 2 right away.
There's 2, one is completely not working.
So then you wouldn't have anyone in inventory, so it needs to stay at 3.
For, you say at least.
Yeah, well. Okay,
Cause we still have to pay for them to get installed, right?
Yeah.
They just come out of operating.
one other, it's small, but we started a concession reserve, I think that was last year. In case there was any breakage, something happened, we had to repair something. And, so we still have some reserve. Could we make that 1,000 instead of 1,500? It's 500.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's a gamble, but if something happens, we'll find the money somewhere else, but.
I can agree with that. No problem.
I have a question, back up to the arena stuff.
Mhm.
So the ride-on scrubber batteries have been pre-approved,
Mhm.
but if they, doesn't necessarily have to be in capital. If you think they can fit into operating,
So it can go into last year's operating,
no, this year,
this year's, like,
yeah, put it under one of his operating expenses and out.
24?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it depends how you want to handle
Is that
it,
not robbing Peter to pay Paul though?
Yeah.
sort of.
Yeah,
And I mean, he's got an operating budget.
yeah,
If Derek feels he can,
Cause it's not a really high priced item.
Yeah.
I mean, it's enough, but,
but it's still a little bit
Yeah.
that to help out.
flag it, or we'll think about it.
and then the community hall.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, the portable audio, is that something that we need to do this year? I know it would be a nice addition.
Yeah, it's more of a convenience thing, to be honest with you, but I think it would serve a purpose. I believe in the renovations that there was actually supposed to be something in the timekeeper's box, but they put light control in it for whatever reason. So it'd be a convenience thing. It would be used. I'm sure it'd be used quite often, but right now, the only place you can plug in is in the press box or in our back office.
In the press box outside. I'm not,
And do most people who use the space plug in the press box or in the office currently?
So, in the men's league, they actually plug in our back room. They bring all their equipment back there, plug in. So they're in and out of our back room. The minor uses the press box. And then we use our office, obviously, for public skate or, general rentals if someone wants music on with them.
And have any of those groups complained about like accessing the option for audio?
No, we've had people ask where they can plug in, so it just becomes our responsibility.
Yeah.
to Put their phone in our back room or whatever.
And does that mean that you need to stay around the back room so they have access, or does it stay?
No,
Open.
usually like, before the end of the rental, I'll just shut the music off and grab the phone and place it by the exit off the ice.
I would say that personally, I don't think that that's something that we need to do this year. I'm not sure how this is.
I can speak to that a bit. I think one of the men's leagues comments on this regularly, do they not?
Yes,
And so that's what's sort of pushing this as well, right?
yes.
And is it not conceivable that Pima could reduce their costs if they were to eliminate the music person up top and do it out of the timekeeper box, right?
Sure, if they wanted to go that road, yeah.
Yeah.
Timekeeper. Well, they usually have a timekeeper or scorekeeper than a music person. I mean,
Right.
Most people that do music, they're doing the timing too, like.
Yeah.
I'll use Nick for an example. I mean,
Yeah.
he does it all. He timekeeps, he does it all. He's
Yeah, that's in the men's league, right?
the men's league.
Yeah.
But yeah, that way, yes, you could eliminate a person in the press box, obviously.
Right. Okay.
So we're gonna leave that
Any
in.
thoughts on that? Any more thoughts?
one thought, I mean, I know it's like a nice to have thing, so I'm tending to want to keep it, but the other thing that bothers me is the number of outsiders that are going into your work area. Like, it's intrusive to your work area, like they eat in there and you
That is
have,
our only space.
yeah, and I
That is our lunch.
think this would stop all the outsiders from,
And additional to that, if we can reduce the number of people climbing in and out of that press box, it's not the most
no, it's. scary.
health and safety
Well.
climb, like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't had harnesses mandated yet. But I think if we can reduce, like guys like Nick or some of these students having to go up there,
Just kids in general.
Kids,
You gotta
yeah.
Climb a ladder. to get
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and fall onto a hard cement surface, so.
You use the safety component and it has to be.
So just one more thing
Yeah.
too, I'm thinking even Silver Stick, they have a challenge getting volunteers. And if they can have one person multitasking downstairs, they could offer music, which makes the tournament more fun. I know people are there for the hockey, but if you can make it more interesting, they can have one volunteer in the penalty box. They don't have to worry about finding a separate person to go upstairs.
Just a question there, would the sound be different?
No, it'll be
The same.
exactly the same as like if we plugged in, because it's just gonna be Bluetooth, so there's gonna be a separate receiver.
Okay.
So whenever they plug in their phone to this transmitter, portable transmitter, it's gonna go to the receiver and just put music in.
On the weekend at the Jamboree, I couldn't understand a lot of what was being said when he was announcing teams.
Through the microphone.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people around me said the same thing. And I said, well, we got a new system.
We can look at increasing the microphone volume. I can look at that. It tends to get that way when it gets busy in there. I
Yeah.
don't know if people's bodies are absorbing the sound or.
Like I didn't, they were announcing who was playing. I couldn't even hear, what was- so. Thank you.
One last question. If you had to prioritize the nets over the sound enhancement, which one would you pick?
Okay.
So are we in agreement on the sound or not?
Agreement to
Leave it in.
Leave it
leave it
in.
in? Yeah.
Keep it in?
Can always, I mean, if we get tough at the end of the day, we might have to come back to it. I mean, it could be,
Yeah, we've obviously talked
Yeah.
about it, so if we
Yeah.
feel we have to go back after.
Okay. The session reserve, that's down to 1,000.
Did we, Jim, do you know how much is in that reserve? Did we use any of it? So full 1,500 is there, okay.
Yeah,
that's why I suggested cutting it,
Yeah.
because we didn't spend anything.
But the reason we started was someday the hood
Right.
or some other major item is gonna go. So we are
Yeah.
trying to build it up for that,
To have
so,
something, but
but I'm okay with.
$500.
So we'll continue on then to the community hall.
Yeah. The door frame. Kitchen door. 4830.
So I don't know much about this, to be honest with you, but I know it is the north door going out of the
The
kitchen to the parking lot. I mean, I think Rob Overholzer got this quote, so I don't know what it's all involved in that. I know the frame, they did have some rot around the frame. Originally, they were gonna replace just the door, and then I did hear that when they got the second quote, the guy said the frame was rotting around it, so that they'd have to replace it all.
And do we know if it's a metal frame
It was
door?
not frame.
Okay. And did we not just put a screen door on that a couple of years ago? Isn't there a screen?
There is a screen door on there, I don't know.
I support it. It is the
It's the most-
exterior of the building. It's a very busy door. It's,
It's the one that's mostly used.
yeah, so I'm okay with that.
That's a security issue. too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you start rusting out a door frame.
Okay. And then, tables. Now, these are regular tables.
These are regular 8-foot tables. They were just asking to replace some of their worn out tables. So I reached out to Manly's to get a quote because they like the tables that we have at the arena when we replaced all ours.
I suggest we cut it to 10. And then maybe the Optimist could buy a couple. I mean, I don't know what their circumstances are, but if they're running the hall, maybe they've got some funds to add some tables to it.
Sure, maybe just them.
Anybody else comments?
Well, did we not just cover $5,000 in expenses for the hall? Wasn't it just a big,
8,000 last year.
and what was it this year?
But we have not paid that bill.
Oh, okay.
They've never spoken to me about it.
Oh, okay. They've submitted,
It's
they've,
for you.
Yeah, it was all the receipts
the year.
for the whole year. And I tried to explain to Rob that if he has a repair, if he comes to me, I can approve it out of the line budget as we go instead of handing them all in at once. He said he claimed he didn't know that's how it worked. Because Jan Ward was in charge before, so.
So I'm just trying to say, either we pay those $5,000 in expenses and they go buy their own tables, or we do both, or whatever. And because last year we'd mentioned getting them round tables and they said they had no space for those. So they just want to replace
The existing,
Existing.
the rectangular tables and with some newer ones.
like, I think all their receipts were operating. Would come out of their operating budget. I don't know how much money was left in that line. To cover them items from last year.
Well, my thought
Because
is,
there is a repair, like building
Yeah.
maintenance and repair line for
There is.
the community hall.
Yeah.
but my suggestion is 10 tables and you take out your worst. And then next year you can buy 10 more instead of doing it all at once.
That's kind of how we did it at the arena.
Yeah, exactly. And then if they want to up it from 10, then they can put something in.
Sure.
consensus,
Yeah, drop it to $3,000.
29.25.
Measures are all the same.
Make that 10.
So, yeah, last year we budgeted 5,000 for the community hall building repairs and spent 1,800.
But that's because they weren't aware.
They weren't aware of how
Yeah.
the process worked, and I think that 1,800 would have been the contract for the rooftop heaters and air conditioning through Ainsworth, I believe, that's the.
Yeah. So if you're gonna go,
Fall main.
if you're gonna go back to that way, once we get to operating, we had probably dropped it because we didn't spend it. But now that we're aware of the situation, we may have to increase it.
Okay,
Okay, anyways, so you want that one dropped to 29.25.
Just one other thing that's elephant in the room is, it's 75 years old. I think, we don't have any plans in the future for replacement or whatever, so no capital money. I think we should seriously think about. We have to at some point put some money aside, to replace this, and that's gonna be a huge number when we get there. Even if it's 10 or 15, 20 years down the road, it's still, you're talking 10, 15, 20 million. You know, so it's something that we really seriously need to think about. Because that building won't last forever. Sarnia's got all kinds of structural problems with theirs, and it's the same age, relatively, Pat Stapleton, so just a word of caution. That's the end. Anything else on the arena?
Okay, thank you, Derek.
thanks, Derek.
It's painless.
Go to Public Works now, stay on that same committee for Councilor Mondu.
Yes, yes.
I know the book's got fire next, but
Well, just looking at the age.
Agenda jumper, but okay,
He's controlling
I know.
Oh,
it. He wants the power.
You're Mr. Chair, so go ahead.
okay, well, let's go Public Works.
Okay,
Yeah, just since it's consensus. That's like 5 tabs away.
But lucky, the tabs are there.
Yes.
It's fine. All right, it's fine.
I know that reserve tab. Do you have a reserve sheet in here? I don't in my book.
I didn't read that far in.
I do. What's the back?
I know she must there mine.
Oh, well, geez.
Nope, it's not reserves. No.
We all set?
What did we just have? How much did we get out of there? Like, not much,
No,
2,000 or something?
no.
Oh, wait, and then another 10. Yeah,
13.5.
13.5.
Yeah,
Okay, well, to start.
Whenever you're ready, Steve.
Sure. So we got the heavy truck replacement reserve, that's for one of the plow trucks. We do have one right now that is 2008, I believe,
2008.
yeah. So it's only got 48,000 kilometers on it. So if you look further down, I did put in the cost of replacing just the box
Yeah.
for some reasons. If you wanna wait on that, but this is probably a 2-year replacement timeline right now on big trucks like that. And it's about a $400,000 replacement cost, right? That's this year. But it is at least 1.5 to 2 years if I ordered it today to get it. So it's something to think about.
Well, there's presently 120 in the budget in the reserve, so this would be another 60, give us 180.
are we gonna go through the whole list or are we gonna deal with them one at a time?
Whatever, well, let's do it one at a time.
This is pretty long, so.
Yeah,
So what,
You guys?
we got time.
so my question about the reserve is if we're going ahead with the new box later, I'm just gonna recommend that we reduce the reserve by the amount of the box, because could that box be transferred to a new,
I would say.
Cabin
the box
chassis?
did, But the plow could.
pardon me,
The box probably couldn't,
right?
but the plow, which is further down the line, could.
Right. But if we're gonna extend the life of it by replacing the box, I think we can delay the,
Take 10.
I was gonna say cut it, the amount of the box I would
Or say 20.
reduce. the
Again, the
reserve by-
box is a Band-Aid, so I'm not saying the box is gonna get us 10 years here. The
No, I
box
agree.
Will get us a few more years
How long's the box been on there now?
since 2008, since we purchased the truck,
Right,
right? It came, this is the box that came with it.
right. So we got
It's
16,
Salt in it.
Right.
like,
so we got 16 years out of it. The current one,
it Flakes off every year we wash it, it loses weight.
Yep.
Right, so.
so my suggestion is we reduce the reserve amount being contributed by the cost of the box.
Or just round it to 20,
Okay. Whatever you think. Yeah, not by to the dollar.
21.7.
Yeah,
So from 60 to 20.
No, 16. Take 20
Are
or
you gonna go the same with the plow then, no? With the plow is about a $20,000 addition too.
if it goes ahead. We'll get to that one.
I have something to that one.
Okay.
So
Steve, are we mandated to replace these trucks at any time or as long as they're in
Not,
good working
not
order?
under anything I understand. I know with your asset
It
management,
gives you suggestions.
replace, they talk about 8 years. I mean, well, like 2008, obviously.
Yeah, that's why I'm just trying to get a timeline on it to see.
I mean, these trucks live a hard life as far as the salt and the heavy plow up front, but they do, like I say, it's got 48,000 kilometers on the powertrain. So. I mean, but they do live their life in a very corrosive environment. So. I can't say we put the box on it and, we end up doing $20,000 worth of suspension work. I can't say that. I can't see what's coming, but. The box I know is rotting pretty good in the back, because it does sit with salt in it, right? So that's why I put that in there, is it'll give it some extra life, but I can't say for sure how long.
Yeah, it's old vehicles or old vehicles.
Yeah.
So drop 20,000 for now.
Is everybody in agreement with that?
Drop 20 or half 220 or like what? Like drop 20,000 off it? Is that what you're after?
Yeah. Because of the plow down below.
No, the plow we're gonna deal with later.
Oh, no. So the box.
box,
The
yeah,
box is 30.
So the box is- Box is 40 grand.
So we're just dealing with the reserve right
that-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're kind of skipping ahead,
Yeah.
but is everybody in agreement if we reduce the reserve
To 40.
by 20,000?
Yes.
520.
Well, the price of the box is 40,000.
If we replace the box.
If,
Well, I think we're looking to approve that. Yeah.
okay, you want to say 35? The box is 35.9. So you want to say 35?
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're saying reduce it by 35?
Yeah.
To 25.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we have plus 60. Minus 35. So that will give you 25,000.
Move on to the next
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. Tree trimming and replacements of boulevard trees, annual cost.
Approved.
So this is an item in,
It's standard.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
good.
we're good. We,
Yeah.
It's like-
okay,
Well, just a question on that. With St. Clair Street, will this be taken out of this budget or
where are the
where?
cost of St. Clair Street?
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Look at
It's not from here.
the quotes they.
I thought we didn't do that. I thought we
No.
left that out.
There is money in the budget.
There is money? Okay.
Yeah, the contractor is not doing it, but there's money budgeted to do it.
Okay.
For us to
That's
do it
part of the
ourselves.
Okay, I was confused. Okay. Move on.
Waterfront Park,
That's just an annual cost.
That's the standard.
same.
Yeah.
The pickup truck says 1/2 ton. I believe that's a push from last year, right, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah. Money's sitting in reserve.
Yeah, Veterans Park upgrade, I believe that's the same.
Yeah.
The Cray backstop's been completed.
Mhm.
I
That's
believe
the
actually
same.
might have come in a little bit under.
Cool.
Those three items are just carry forwards anyway. They're
Okay,
not
all
affecting
right.
this
You
budget.
guys let me know, I don't, never
Yep.
time, so.
Yeah.
Constituent assessments,
Pre-approved.
street sweeper deferred from 2002.
Deferred again.
Yeah, okay.
I just wanted to just speak to that a little bit. I think there was some confusion. So I was the one that pitched that to my colleague. I don't know if you got a copy of the email that I sent.
Well, the extra quotes you wanted me to get on the smaller units?
Yeah, and I heard it committee, so I just wanted to clarify. At no point did my suggestion, was to eliminate the big street sweeper that comes in the fall and collects all the leaves.
Yeah.
When I was in Nashville, I saw a small street sweeper being used to do trails, paths, parking lots, and that type of thing. And I know there was a comment of the small one, we'd have to come back every 10 minutes to dump, but I think in reviewing them, the capacity is pretty good on them. And if we're out cleaning, we come back every 2 hours anyways for coffee breaks and lunch and everything. So,
Capacity is 1.1 cubic feet or, okay. and
Yep.
the Regular one is somewhere between 6 and 8, so you're looking at about the bucket of one of our loaders is what it would hold.
right. But I'd say,
It wouldn't be every 2 hours if we were doing the streets, it would be like,
what I'm trying to say is, it wasn't, I didn't propose it as being for the streets.
Yeah.
As more for spot sweeping on the streets. If there was a little area that was bad, you go sweep up that way. Doing the trail to keep stones, sticks, twigs off, especially that part over by Louisa that gets really bad with leaves and sticks. It was more of a,
we use a leaf blower for that and it seems to work. pretty
okay, well, that's fine then, yeah, but I just want to make sure that I wasn't, like, I don't think we'll ever buy the big $300,000 one.
Even the one that you're speaking on.
Yep.
Is over $130,000.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you're gonna spend the money on one, it might as well be not. Might do more jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we could find one that's kind of in the middle, that's got a better capacity.
Yeah.
Like I've got quotes on some that are 400,
Yeah,
but I've
yeah.
also got that Matthew Azer that's about 260.
Yeah.
Which is in the middle of those two
Yeah,
units,
yeah.
right? So.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thanks.
And we've got repaving sections of the pathway. And I think you mentioned this, Greg, but it's been an ongoing issue. I think even Paul Churchill put in for this, but it's that S curves underneath the big poplars by the service road.
Yeah.
So that would be our priority, and by the fry truck, there's 2 spots that flood.
Yeah.
Even from the sprinklers, they flood.
Oh, wow.
So that would be, and then I think just looking to the future, that's some, whether you want to put reserves in, but this pathway will need large sections resurfaced in the future, same with that section between and Ernest is
Yeah.
starting to show its age
Yeah.
to Front Street.
Yeah.
Right? So,
We had it down when we did the splash pad, but we ended up burning through a lot of contingency money with other things that came up.
something I think this
The
for the
birds.
future, I think is something to think
Yeah.
about, right?
So it's been on there quite a bit.
Yeah, so.
So are we good to leave that in? We're all good with that?
Yeah.
Making sure.
So now we're into, this is the section that I was talking about, whether if we wanted to. Rather than replace the truck, so we're talking the new dump box.
Oh, no, we missed one pathway lighting
Oh, sorry.
update.
Okay. Yeah, so this is a big one, again, something I want you to make sure everybody's aware of, that this is coming, and we have 90 lights. And these aren't cheap. Like, we're looking to replace them all just on the cost of the lights alone, I think the math is right, it's about $180,000. And that's not including the electrician's costs. So I propose we don't even have any on hand to replace what we have. So we either start with maybe 10 or even 5 just to start replacing them, but it is something we're gonna have to do. Like these poles, I think, are 24 years old now. So it is something that we need to think about.
So the 21,000 would get you
10.
10.
What's 10? Okay, and here it says 15.
And just for the scope of the work, is this just the light and the globe, or is this everything?
So what it is it's, if you look at the pole. Where it starts to flare, there's a sensor eye, there's the globe, and then there's the internal parts. So it'll
Right.
be that from there up.
Okay,
Yeah, and we are kind of tied to Stress Creek because those are the poles, so we don't really have a lot of options of other,
Mhm.
so,
and are the poles in good shape? Should they be painted or
well.
at the same time, or?
They're like concrete with color in them.
Right,
So
okay,
Yeah.
Painting them, I think, it would be like painting a pressure treated deck.
right,
If
yeah.
you do that, you better be ready
For
to.
the rest of your life,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's one of those. I mean, it's gonna fade a little bit, but it is a pathway pole and
Yeah.
so.
So if I may.
Yeah.
I thinking about this a little, I thought this 21,000 was to cover 15 lights, but anyway.
It says
So
15.
this 21,000 is the cost of 10 lights.
Well, I can see, I don't have my quote.
It
right
says, based on 15, and we need 90.
Can we
now. I believe
use,
they were about $2,000 a piece or $1,800 a piece. if I
Okay.
remember.
And the chiefs are in-house electrical specialists. Is this a good approach? Are they nearing end of life, chief?
The lights, are the problem that we have with them is the sensors on them. We did an LED upgrade on them, it's just the bulb,
Okay,
but the actual bulb that goes in the fixture is not. Like it fits and everything else, but it's very wobbly.
right.
So we have one breaker that's tripping once in a while, I'm quite sure it's due to a short.
Okay,
The only thing I instructed for Steve was that I don't really want, he showed me the specs on them. I'd rather see the picture complete. Cause it's not what you buy, is what it costs to me. Cause everything that you do now with LED, when we buy an LED fixture, you replace the whole fixture, no different than this light, no more bulbs, right?
right.
You replace the whole fixture, so I want to make sure the quality is there before I recommend to use it. My biggest fear is the sensor. The sensors that we have there now, they have a little plastic shield that was supposed to protect it. Well, within 2 years, your plastic shield either cracked, broke, or it's so discolored. It's not working efficiently. So your lights are coming on way too early,
Mhm.
or they're not working at all. Or water's getting into the fixture and causing problems. So until I see a fixture, that's why I said to Steve, if we could get one that we can make sure that it's 100%. Is, like I said, when you have to repair, you're gonna have to replace it.
Right,
Completely, other than the shade, right?
yeah.
All that should be looked at for what the cost is gonna be down the road. My recommendation.
So my thinking on this, we've got about $60,000 in reserve from Blue Water Powers that are
From
dividend from
dividends.
them every year.
Yeah.
I think we should take this year to plan what we're going to do. We'll get another 60,000 in 2024 approximately,
Mhm.
and then another 60,000 in 2025. I would propose we do some planning this work, allow Doug to get one of these fixtures in, make sure it's what we want, and then budget to do the whole thing next year, and then we get all the fixtures at the same time that we order 95 fixtures so that we know they're all the same. And we order 15 this year, maybe they change them by next year. I don't know, but I think it makes some sense to just do it all at once. And then to use that Blue Water Power money, which is for
It's aligned with
electrical
what,
projects.
yeah.
And you saying in 2025 replace them or
Yeah,
26?
25.
Okay,
I think like would it at least reevaluate at this time next year, like, well, we know we'd have approximately 180,000 in that reserve. Find out what the right fixtures are, find out a rough cost, what it's gonna cost to and have them changed over and installed. And then we've got the funds there to do it too.
And we do have one that needs to be done.
Yeah.
It's in a spot that we haven't had to, because it's got streetlights around it, but we do have one that needs to be done that Doug could do for us. And I just want to put it out there too, like, I got the quote on the replacement cost. Now, a lot of the globes that go over top are in need of repair. They got a seam that's been cracking. Those are $900 a piece just to replace those. So when you look at $1,300 to do a full upgrade, it doesn't hurt as much as far, because those are gonna need to be replaced. A lot of them are starting to crack on the seams.
so this plan calls for replacing those globes, right?
That's all part of it. The
Okay,
whole
so
thing
it's-
is globes,
everything up,
lights,
right?
Everything, yeah.
But it's the same thing. There's so much to look at for me, is that LED is different lighting to begin with, right? We all know that.
Mhm,
So you have residents that do not want the light shining on their property.
mhm.
So that's gotta be looked at. How much are they what's gonna be the different lumens? What direction are they gonna go? Are they gonna go up, down, like everything? There's so much, and that's why I stress try one first before you go. Give the go ahead that it's gonna work, cause you know the problems you ran into last time when we bought, everybody thought it was gonna be great. And the
So-
majority of people love them, but there's some that are close to their homes.
Yeah.
And they were upset about it, then they're gonna vandalize it, or whatever, you don't want that.
So we can buy one and put it where the one's not working
Right.
and do an assessment, but
And I can ask you, they might make shields that have.
Yeah,
reflectors on one
reflectors.
you have a
side.
shield in one, right? Over,
I made one.
oh, did you? Okay.
I just made it.
Yeah,
But they may.
yeah, they may
I'm
have,
Sure, they've run into the same issues.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
you can't- It's not. The question we can ask.
It was the actual fixture itself, the shade itself does have a style on it that's supposed to do that, but it didn't, it had to be added again.
Right.
And but you can change your lumens, right?
yeah,
You can, the one that Steve's already looked at, they might make one that's a touchdown or whatever, so I'm sure they do.
And when I did request it, I had to send the polls that we had and they had their engineers make a quote for our actual pole. So,
So we'll put one, we'll do one.
yeah,
Do we remove this from capital? Can we do that?
I can do that
operating?
on our operating. I was gonna, actually, I think I spoke on that. I was gonna order a couple of them, but then I thought my budget was through till March, but it was until, and then that money disappeared, so I didn't have that money to buy those lights with, because they went away, so.
Just a recommendation, maybe do two. You
Yeah.
can try one in the area. The one that's broken right now is in the park area.
Yeah,
And
and
if
it's,
you try one into the residential area,
this one is fairly close to somebody that would probably notice it.
yeah, oh, for sure.
that's,
Yeah.
that's tactful.
So we
So
defer that.
So
take that,
So we're gonna take that
take
21
it comes out.
out.
Yeah, because it's going to the reserve, like the Blue Water Power.
there
It
it
is
is.
my proposal.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I-
that makes, it totally makes sense.
But make sure that it's recorded somewhere, so next year, you don't say, oh, let's use the Blue Water Power
Yeah.
dividend for
oh, we
something.
would never do that.
No, I had, that's.
We would never
I'm
buy,
not here.
we would never buy the Olympia with that money.
Okay,
Oh, that's my place.
So are we leaving any money in for the two fixtures that we need?
He says gonna take it out of operating.
Well, I'll use waterfront park budget for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had that money earmarked this year, so like, as long as I don't run into any issues, I should still have that money available.
I know where to go back down to the, well, the new property.
But is it-
Jump box.
we can go back to the lights. Is it not though a capital item? Like, it's
I
only,
would say if we're replacing the whole bunch of them, it's definitely a capital
Okay.
item. If we have to, like, it's maybe not every year. we
Yeah, I
have to
bought
replace these.
three, like, we had two shades that got smashed by kids throwing bricks at
Yeah.
them on the casino stretch.
Yeah.
So I bought three of them.
okay, out of
Put them
operating.
Under my operating budget.
Okay, fair enough.
I mean, it's,
That's needed.
yeah,
Yeah. Repair.
it happens every once in a while. Like I said, one we replaced on Ernest Street got a big crack in it. So we had to go.
And also too, Steve, don't hold it to this, but I think the ones that are on the bridge property might already be LED fixtures.
Yeah, they're
Maybe.
different too. They've got black tops on them. They're
Yeah,
different. than- a little
But I
bit
think they're
different.
LED fixtures,
They
they're
might
not
be.
bulbs, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Move on.
Okay.
Dark box.
So the dump box, yeah, I've got quotes on both stainless steel but obviously for just a Band-Aid, then I wouldn't bother buying a stainless steel one. Maybe we bought a new truck, I think it'd be a good idea to fix both.
Sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
I agree.
The plow, I
Okay.
just got some put in.
So we're leaving that.
Hold on, just.
hold on.
Yeah.
So you've got 35,900 for the dump box portion, and you're saying you don't need the stainless steel?
Well, the stainless steel is just an
13,560?
upgrade, right? So it would be, instead of being 35,000, it would be. It would be
Close to
48,000 if you went with a stainless steel box.
So
It's just an upgrade to.
That's what I'm saying. Do you want that 13,560 removed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I need to know.
Right?
Then,
The next is the plow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is the same plow that we got this year. Well, I showed Tim, we had an issue with a catch basin this year that damaged the other plow. Because it doesn't have a trip edge. These new plows have a big spring bump that allows them to flip up and flip back down. That damage cost us $3,000 because there is no relief. So I would like to get that plow for the other truck. That's something that can go with the next truck. And I think we lucked out this year, the fact that we did order that new plow because we had a spare waiting. So when that plow got so damaged that it couldn't have been used, we were able to drop that one and take the old one and put it back on. So I think having that big, the yellow single isn't a bad idea, because I've got new cutting edges, fairly new cutting edges that I will change from the one to the other, and it could be a spare. But I think that 21,000 is money well spent, even just for safety of our guys, and they're more efficient with the two-way options. So I think it's,
So my question is, so the fixed blade got damaged?
Yeah.
And so when we first approached this moving one, we talked about you would plow the like outside lane with the fixed one and then would do the long
it
curb and
depends,
that.
yeah, it would depend on, like, it doesn't have to be, but, yeah. I mean, the inside one at night, because then when you're taking a corner,
Right.
if you're coming across Front Street, you can straighten it out, take the snow with you, drop it on the curb.
Right, yeah.
I got a suggestion for this. If we can remove it from capital, can we use the winter? We got a winter reserve of $51,000. Can we take the money out of that?
That was always kind of a salt reserve.
Is that a salt reserve? Okay. Our salt budget's been good.
Yeah, this year,
Yeah.
Yeah,
go back a couple of years.
just to give you the history of what that money
Yeah, 'cause
is
I
there.
don't remember ever using it.
Yeah.
So,
We've gone over on salt in the time I've been here. For a couple of
We
years.
have, but we've always had a surplus as well at the end of the year, so we haven't had to dip
You
into
just
it.
Greg to find me a copy. Turkey.
Oh,
I'll
me
send it.
too, please.
Get to.
so
I'm not listening. Yeah, I mean.
And
that's all
Ariana.
We can do, it's just if we do go over on salt, as long as we don't.
we need the plow, I think.
Yeah,
I think for efficiencies and that we need it, because the other one works very well for the guys.
and efficiency is one thing, but safety is really.
Yeah, and after seeing the damage to the plow that occurred, like, I would not want to be driving that truck.
So we're gonna leave that in.
Agree.
Is there, I don't think it's necessary, but if else does, we can go ahead.
I think there's consensus then. Majority in that, so not consensus, but enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I don't know what chassis is.
Okay, did you
So it
ever
breaks the
get
truck down
a,
into two parts.
Right.
So there's like the chassis and the engine, and then there's all the.
Oh.
That's why it's 185, that's why it comes to 400.
So you don't have a whole truck unless you buy both items, both lines.
What's that?
There's no whole truck unless you take both of these line
Yeah.
items.
Yeah.
Okay.
exactly.
Because you buy the
Yeah.
truck separately.
I get it.
That truck could be any truck.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And then again, when we do decide to do that, there are financing options now. So you don't have to pay everything up front.
Please.
So maybe something we want to consider in the future. So about more, get yourself.
no, the safeties on the east gate,
The
did you ever
gates.
get a
I
price?
did,
Oh, is that-
I did get a quote,
I thought that was on, sorry.
No, it's in yellow.
No, it's just because they were slow on getting me the quote, but it's,
Thank you.
for the controller and
Oh, that's okay. That's just fine. Thank you.
instruction device they call it, it'd be, 40 or 80.
4,480?
What's that for?
Safety's on the
Safety's
east
on
gate,
gates.
or the highlighter is in yellow there.
We didn't have a price at the time.
Yeah, they just got it to me, so half of them is a little bit, trying to get it for the price.
So,
Because that gate's quite old and the loops, that's the safety loops are starting to rot underground.
Yeah.
So rather than having to dig up the asphalt and put new loops in, they've got a looper system now they can put in. Basically, it's in the air instead of in the.
Similar to your garage door setup.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
so what's the consensus?
Yeah, I think
That's a
good.
necessity.
Yeah.
It's a security thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much?
$4,480.
Yeah. I can give you the full. if you want.
You can give it to me. Sue.
Yeah.
More?
So I put in the mower just due to the hours and the vintage of it. We've got 3 Kubota mowers. We've got the one I'm talking about replacing is a 2014 with 1,710 hours on it. The other one we have is a 19 with 905 hours, and the third one is a 2022 with 242 hours. So
And just a reminder, there's a $10,000 revenue above as a trade-in.
Hmm.
And would you move the mirrors and lights over to the new one?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't,
Yeah. Mirrors would come off it, the slow moving vehicles on the lights, all of that would come with it.
Yep.
And
I think last year we spent. July maintenance, on the motors.
We didn't go over budgets.
No,
We spent some money on them, you know what I mean, but
that's a good thing,
we stayed within our budget for the motors.
but we are spending money on it.
Yeah, but they're hydraulic, you know, so hoses blow and, you know, things like that happens.
It's 10 years old.
2014.
and as you said, though, the hours are more important
Yeah,
than
and
Yeah.
then usually, like, when you hit 2,000 hours, you're into, it's gonna start costing you money.
overhauls.
Yeah.
So there's, there is potential for another year on it. I would say that's like, if you look at the 2022, so that got a year on it, so 242 hours. on it.
Nobody coached Steve, eh? That's,
that?
you never say, oh, we could get another year out of it.
Well, no, if you guys, I'm not, I just put it in because of the vintage of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And as
Um,
long as, like I say, I mean, I know you guys are crunched for money, so if that's,
I was thinking if we could go leave it one more year, based on the fact that we're spending all this money on that equipment. That would be something we could defer into next year,
like I say, I put it in just like I say, because of the vintage of it.
just to. It's just looking for
I'm not
something.
opposed to trying it for another year, I just be putting on it, but it cost me $5,000,
Yeah.
if something happens to it.
Well, it's a gamble,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's a lot of money going on a truck.
But it's well-maintained equipment.
Yep,
It gets
Okay.
cared for every
I
year.
can agree with that,
okay.
remove it.
But then I'm removing
Defer for
the
a year.
Revenues.
revenue as well.
Yeah,
Thank you, Steve.
So next was the UTV. I put this in just due to the fact that we run low on equipment in the vehicles in the summer when we get all our students and our community living and everything else. So I just put that into the fact that if we had one that didn't see salt, it would last a very long time. The kids use those a lot, but they're very good for the students because they can go anywhere, they can go on the pathways, they can go on the fields. So, it was just one of those, I just got a quote, I'm getting more quotes, so I thought it might be an idea. Obviously almost as much as pickup truck though. So,
If we're really stuck for transportation, I know, other municipalities rent trucks.
Yeah.
For the season.
I think that's been proposed. I
know,
think
that-
that Imram did some talk on that, I don't know what of it.
If we really need something rather than purchasing a vehicle, we can rent one for 4 months or something, or whatever we want for the summer to get us through if we're stuck.
Or also, I know we have the money for a pickup truck that the new person that gets hired is supposed to make a decision on, so there's always that potential, right?
That money won't buy a pickup. None of that.
$65,000, isn't it?
You
Yeah.
can't buy a pickup for that anymore, I don't think.
I don't know.
Well, not
That's
What I've seen,
around there, wasn't it?
Okay, so what's the consensus on this one?
say remove it.
yeah. Crack seals.
Were you able to get on with the county, Steve?
I haven't heard back from them yet. They gave me a list of where they were doing for the county roads, and we weren't on the county roads. I did send an email to see if we can be part of the purchasing or the contract. I haven't heard back yet.
Do we do Michigan Ave?
Michigan is a
between-
county road, so it's up to the county.
Yeah, cause there's a lot of
Yeah, but it-
separation right now.
I think those cracks are too big for crack sealing.
Yeah, that stretch,
We're-
I've mentioned it before,
Yeah,
between Front Street and Christina. I run that a lot and it's really getting bad there.
Yeah, I think we're gonna go with, we got this newer cold patch. It's a little more expensive, but we're probably gonna end up going there and closing a lane and doing a full patch, I think that's the only way. I think those cracks are too big.
Yeah.
So we've already kind of started. When the weather gets half decent, we're gonna go and. It's gonna be a big setup where we're gonna have to close that lane and go along. Get a couple of trucks in there and just cold patch, even rip out some of that crack sealing because it's just falling out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that right now, that's our plan. So that will be under operating, I think, when the time does come for that stretch. We borrowed the plate temper from Jay. And we're gonna try and. Go ahead, Mike.
I just have a question about back to the money for the Kubota UTV. So if we choose to do something where we have to rent a vehicle, does some money have to be left behind for that?
Yeah, where's the rent come from?
Would that not be an
That'd be
operating
an
cost?
operating.
Yeah.
Would it?
Thank you.
Cause
Yeah.
we don't have an item line item.
But you're not buying a piece of equipment, so it wouldn't fit on the capital.
Okay, so that's
We'd have to
where we have
find-
the increase in the
We'd have
capital
to find-
or in the operating.
So when we get to operating, remind,
Yeah. Remember,
all right, so what are you doing with 7,500? Do you think you're gonna be able to,
I've never done crack sealing, so for me, I can't. I don't-
or is it something that has to be remembered the first of the year for next year's budget? To get in with the county,
to say, I can't speak.
because it
on
might be too late this year.
I don't wanna hazard a guess, so.
I think it should be left in there though.
Leave it in for now?
I think it should be. It's
Okay.
one of those things that
Yeah.
needs, you know. We usually spend it every year. We didn't spend any last year.
Or the years.
So in theory, there should.
I don't think
be
we've done,
quite a
I
bit
can't
out
remember the last time we've done crack sealing. It's not been county driven.
No,
The county
it's been a
was-
few years.
If it's not gonna happen, we can use it, can we use that money for the patch sealing? You know, the cold patch. If we find out that the county's not gonna do.
Mhm.
we can
Mhm.
move that-
It could be, yeah.
We can move that money around.
The one thing I can guarantee is it's not gonna be wasted.
No, I know.
We're not gonna spend it frivolously, so.
No,
No, but
If
we
there's-
could
if
order,
there's
we could
repairs
order
that
that
need to be done.
patch for
Yeah,
that
we can
stretch.
use it for
Cause
that.
we do get to bill the county
If the
back.
county is unable to do.
So,
Leave it in.
Okay.
so then we're on to
Catch basin.
catch basins. So this is for the cleaning of them, out of those newer power usually does it. In the past, we've done half of them in one year, half the other, and I think Imram had them all done in 1 year. And I don't know, Jay, are they doing them right now? They're actually cleaning them too, right?
Yeah, so for the asset condition, like the asset condition, work, all of them have to be cleaned out to get the cameras and stuff in, so they are cleaning them out now. But,
We shouldn't have to do it this year then.
depends on the year. There's all, clean out, and then if you take it away, then you're just gonna put it back.
just take
No, I don't
it
mean take it away, but
Take it
maybe
back.
In the past too, if we, like when Paul was here, he would, if there was money left over in that, and we went over, my budget with repairs. So this is for the cleaning, I have a budget line for all the repairs and maintenance of them. If we went over, it would sometimes take
Which is very,
very often, like last year,
And we
we
do-
did almost double.
I think there's more and more rearing their ugly heads every day.
Yeah, we have a bunch that are on the list to be fixed now. There's all that work on Michigan. That the counties basically told us to go ahead and have told me to go ahead and get all the numbers now.
That's a big
And
one.
it's gonna be a big job.
So that's what, with this money, I would suggest we're not gonna be cleaning the catch basins, there's repair work to be done though, because of those condition assessments we had done.
Mhm.
There are repairs that are gonna need to be done,
Does that show up elsewhere under Jason's budget? Oh, no, couldn't, we've already done that budget.
There is the
not
budget.
in the.
Yeah.
Jason has 35 under. So his could be increased to say 65 and take this one out, or just leave them and use the two
Yeah.
accounts.
You could call that maintenance rather than just cleaning, Paul. It doesn't even think
Yeah.
it's self cleaning, but.
Yeah.
It was generally used for cleaning, and then if there's any extra, and that was gonna be over, and that's it for there. But this last couple of years has been, we have a lot of catch basins that are there.
So we're here, we need to keep it.
Leave it.
The waterfront playground equipment,
I'm gonna speak on that one if you want.
yeah.
Steve, this is just the, at this point, the difference of what's left from the MAP money. And if we change it through the day, this number will
2%.
change. So this will go towards, I think the whole quote was 706,000. And then last year we put money into the reserve, and then this is another contribution towards it. Which could change.
Mhm.
Yes.
So then on to the permanent placement of the electrical panel. I got a quote on just a permanent box for the panel that we dragged down there with the loader for events.
Mhm.
So basically, it only ever goes in one spot. So I don't know why it was made portable, but I think it's a good deal, because then you just have to go and flip the switch. So it'd be the box was 3,800, and then I talked with the Roberts Electric, and he said it would be no more than $1,000 to hook it up, so that's just an average, because he doesn't know he's gonna get into, he said, but. He goes, it would probably be under that, but he goes, I'll probably 1,000, just in case of another percent.
And this was another Matt suggestion.
How many times a year do we,
What's that?
how many times a year do we
Well,
install?
it depends, right? This year we only used it a couple of times. I know Jim's had the movie nights where we take it down for the movie night. So it would depend on how much, like if they're gonna get more or more venues down there,
Mhm.
that's where it comes in handy. So for Canada Day, we had it. I think we did pancake breakfast. We always have it. We do it for movie night, the movie nights, different things like that. So here it would be, you'd be able to open a panel, plug into it, hit the switch in the wash in the back of the washings, and it would be live, easy to go. Now we've got to, we haul it down there and we've got to put cones around it, and, you know, so I think. If we're gonna use the park more, which I believe is something that you guys are hoping to do for revenue,
Mhm.
it would make sense.
And would it be, are you thinking of putting landscaping around it?
Well, it's already in the garden.
So it is already
So
sort
you
of,
know where, well,
Yeah.
maybe you don't notice, but we have the switch that goes inside the garden.
Yep.
Right there, and
Yep.
then we put the panel outside of it.
yeah,
It would just be in the garden.
okay.
So we would just, you know,
So it's under the one.
yeah, it'd be out of the way, and it would look a lot like one of Jason's panels at the pump station,
Yep.
right? Like the one out here that's, it wouldn't be stainless steel, but it would look like that one.
Yeah.
And you would just have somewhere where you could open it up and plug in, and there would be those grommets underneath, so the cords could come.
Yep. Sounds good.
Oh, Jason, you can talk.
Just a suggestion, it's not priced as stainless steel.
No,
For the extra money of stainless.
being under
it'll
the
last
bridge.
forever.
Yeah.
Exactly, under the bridge, you get the salt and spray and everything coming off. It blots everything. If you're gonna put the investment in, I definitely suggest spending a little bit extra money and getting it done in stainless. Yeah. So if you have much more down, it'll be easier to deal with if somebody puts graffiti and stuff on, it just, you don't have to paint it or maintain it.
That is like, this quote was like epoxy paint and everything, but stainless is potentially an option.
Yeah, my thing I was gonna ask is about security. Because it is copper wire in there and
Yeah.
things can happen if is there.
Well,
something
that's,
we can
it's
do
a
to-
metal box, right? So if you look around, like that's Jason's are like that. If you look at, the Blue Air Bridge has one. As you're coming around the curve, they've got one for their pathway lights.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not getting in with, like, if you want in, you're gonna get in, but it's not. You know, it'd be easier to get into the washrooms in the back room of the washrooms and mess with the electrical back there than it will be to get into this thing.
Okay, good, yeah, that was.
Yeah, it's an industrial, it's outdoor electrical.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be, and it would be something that, you know, it's not gonna be opened all the time, so we'll have some heavy duty locks on it. I don't think it'll become, you know. The other one we put down there and it's just left out there.
Yeah.
Right, it's gotta. Again, to me, I think if we're gonna use it more. It should be a permanent fixture. I mean, I think it makes more sense than it being something like, because we're gonna bring it down to pick up, lift it out with the loader, the thing weighs about 800 pounds, right? And then it sits out in the field. This would, I think, would be safer for the public and.
And you're, no time for you guys.
Well, it's easier, right? You just walk in and flip the switch. I mean, I don't want, the time's not that big a factor. I think to me, it's not. It just makes sense. I mean, if we're gonna use this from that way. There's lots of power there, so we can run a lot of different things there. You know, so we're not trying to drag lines off of some of our light poles that aren't meant to have an extension for that, right? Which we've done in the past too, and then. Looks, I think it makes more sense. But
What about the stainless steel option? Is that something we should enter based on G?
If, I think you just leave it where it is for now, we can get a price for that, and I'm authorized to.
See if we can absorb
think
it.
It's a good investment. We
Okay.
can Look at it, see how much more money it is.
Thank you.
See how the firefighters come and see if you're.
Yeah,
grinder,
And the grinders
Take
taken
it out.
out. So resurfacing of the tennis courts.
yeah, so this is another thing that just more for the futures. The resurfacing that we have done, has been failing. I know we did the repair there a couple of years ago. Even some of those repairs have started to crack again. So what I wanted to do was just get a quote of what it would cost to have it redone. Yeah, so it's, I didn't actually get a quote. The guy just emailed me, hey, this is how much it would be. So he said it'd be about, for them to remove and replace about 70 to 75,000. And if we were able to remove it, he said you could probably save 5,000 or 6,000, and I don't know if we could do it.
And would that include the reinstallation of any fencing and the net poles and everything?
Well, the fencing would have to stay. That's the thing that bugs me about this. We got that beautiful fence there. Like before we did it last time to mill and pave that prior to, I think would have been a good
Yeah.
deal, but I wasn't here for that.
Yeah.
But it's failing.
But what I'm trying to say is, will there be an additional charge to,
I don't
Deal
think
with the
we remove
fencing.
the fence. We've got a gate that's wide enough, so to me, we just leave a border
okay,
of whether it's asphalt or, and then we just have them, because we have room on either side. It's not like the courts go right to the fence.
right, okay,
So I think we've replaced the playing surface.
yep,
And then around the edge, then we either strip it off and leave it as asphalt.
Yeah.
And then not mess with the fence.
yeah, or even pour like a cement border. under the
Something,
fence,
yeah, but then it traps water.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We already have that issue,
Yeah.
and that's something
One
else. is
drain.
If we redid this, if you had it,
Ah,
some of the asphalt guys I've talked to have small milling machines that are only 6 feet wide. So if we had that mill, then we could have it sloped properly, so we don't have to squeeze in our feet,
mhm.
right?
That's cement, Steve, not asphalt.
What's that?
That's cement, not asphalt.
I believe it's asphalt.
Cement. It's a cement pad, the tennis court is a cement pad.
Okay, it looked like asphalt to me when we used to
If it
paint
looks
it.
like asphalt before you put on it, but that's.
No, before we put that on, we used to paint it,
I'm
and I
pretty
thought
sure
for sure it was asphalt. I can check and see if it's
it's
asphalt. We could take a
100%
core
cement.
of it somewhere, but
So I suggest that's a future project and not can tell them to Matt.
it is suggested from that.
Yeah.
maybe
Okay,
reserve.
you're done,
I don't know,
yeah.
but I just wanted to put it out there
Yeah.
because it is something that's coming, and
Yeah.
before we had the repairs last time, we had to close it. Because they were so bad.
Yeah.
I just had to look at it this year, and there's definitely some new cracks and some new peel ups, so we used some spray adhesive last year to repair it, so. You know, but it's the time's coming. I
Yeah.
know it's unfortunate because it doesn't seem like it's that old.
Yeah,
So I think the preparation before it got put down was. We should have, and honestly, I don't really wanna. I'd rather try somebody else. My confidence there is.
So what are we doing for
So-
70?
I propose we remove it
Yeah.
and that staff be instructed to get, like more detailed quotes and sort of a project plan, and then we'll review it next year.
Okay, so that gives us another 70 up in the waterfront part. Reserve.
Or in the picnic tables, that's Jim Anthony's got some quotes on picnic tables and we did multiple ones.
Yeah.
To replace, so they range, there's such a wide variety of, like the ones that we have under at the splash pad. Those are $2,000 piece. Okay, you can buy replacements of what we've got, the wood type ones. For probably $600 or $700 a piece, so. lot of the wooden ones that we do have are getting pretty old. Replacing the boards on some is doable, but some of them are actually, the steel is rotten to the point where they're, you know.
So I'd like to see us move away from wood, either to composite or steel or plastic. And I'd like to propose that we bump it up to 20,000 and do it up, get enough and do them, get enough and good quality ones. The park's so well used and is so popular that I think we need to have good quality and sufficient numbers. So it's my suggestion.
I think at committee, we discussed maybe putting some on the pads.
Yeah.
Right, starting with the pads,
Some that maybe we even anchor down to the
Yeah.
pads, so some of the maybe the accessibility ones,
so
might be a good idea to put on.
do we have a
pads.
number of ones we need for the pads?
Well, they're all, like, I mean,
Like how the pads are around the truck, right? In that
kind of,
area?
yeah. We look, I guess, in that area,
So,
yeah, the number, how many we would fit on each pad you need?
yeah, like how many tables, do you know how many tables we need?
Oh, it depends on how you want to, like, if you want to make them accessible, right? Like if you want to, like, you know, the accessible ones that are kind of off plan that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put more than two on a pad there because you want to have room for that wheelchair to move around it, right? Or if you put, like the rectangular ones on there, you could probably put four. You know? I think stationary ones, like anchored ones are a good idea, but people still want to be able to drag them in the shade. Right? So I think some of the off, like the rectangular ones that are anchored down, and then some of the other ones that are wheelchair accessible on the pads and actually like anchored into the concrete. When it can't be moved. Like if you go and look at Centennial Park, go down River Road and look at what they've done there. I think that's a good visual of what they've done.
Yeah.
They've got some accessibility ones that are actually anchored to the concrete.
Since
So,
this is MAT tax money,
yes,
like,
what's the consensus there then?
is that that number we have in here for the park at 107, does that include that 15?
No, so right now, the park is not to 177. Because we just took 70 out of the tennis court.
Yeah.
So this is just part of the 15 as a separate item through Matt.
Yes,
So you want to leave it, you want to increase it, and then that would change that waterfront park again.
yes. Exactly. So,
So we have a proposal to raise the 15 to 20.
Mhm.
Is that? Is it?
I'd like to see it stay at 15, because I know we want to get that project done as well. And then next year, maybe we can do a few more if that's necessary, you know?
Would keeping it the same still allow for it to be accessible? Because I think we need to make sure we're creating an accessible space. So saving a little bit, but not creating the accessible space will cost us more in the long run, because obviously we do want to move toward that.
We have some of our tables under at the splash pad are accessible, not all of them, but we do have some.
But we're also looking at putting them by the.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in the playground or
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there are no accessible tables there
they're
right now.
down, putting down.
So
And
there
now the
will
pads
be,
are right there, you'll see.
there will be accessible tables put in. That's regardless of how much
Yeah.
money is in the budget.
Mhm.
We will make sure there are accessible spaces available. It's just a matter of, you know, with 15,000, maybe we just do the pads this year and keep using wooden tables off the pads.
Yeah.
I think, to me, you just set the amount and let the staff
Yeah.
decide.
What they can do with it.
Like, and we can come back with a report to the committee and say, this is what we're gonna do with this money. I mean, it's not like you're not gonna know. But you don't make those decisions today so much.
I think,
It's just
I think,
set an amount and.
I think 5,000 more in tables will have a significant impact down there versus 5,000 put towards the playground equipment is such a minor amount in the scope of that project. So I think could be 3 more tables down there, and it'd be nice to have in that area them all looking similar, same design, same look, and it's only $5,000, but it will have an impact. So that's why I say bump it up. And we just took $70,000 out of that. So
I can support 20. So it's
Is adding 5 enough to get the composite? Like,
See, that, we don't know, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we, like we said, we've got prices everywhere from 600 to 2,000 a table.
Okay.
You've got all the different stuff in your
I'm
book.
in, I'm in favor of adding the 5 to it.
We've got it
I'm
all
just-
in here.
Okay.
I know the composite ones can.
So that's
be
3.
pricey.
They're like
Yep.
$1,500 a table, so
Well, that's, yeah, again, that's,
significantly more.
there's, some are $2,200 somewhere.
Yeah. Some of the metal ones were quite nice too.
Yeah, they are, but they also rust. The composite, like you look at the ones that we have at the splash pad.
Yeah.
They look, other than a little bit of marks on top, they look the day we bought.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
So to me, I think that, like, how long's that been?
Yeah.
So they winter there too.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks to the quality of them. But, and again, accessibility table. Anybody can use it.
Yeah.
It's not, that's not like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I think there's no harm in getting lots of these, like, all they do is leave one bench.
Yeah.
Right, so it's, I mean, you don't make the rectangle room that's up the food, right, and so the new design, we can pull a chair up on the ends, so.
Mhm.
It's accessible, I think is no harm in even bottom out.
So consensus.
yeah, we got 20,000. We got consensus on that.
Jim, do you want Steve to speak on the road construction or you?
We've got radar speed signs. Oh, we switched that.
That's under police. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so road construction is pretty straightforward. We budgeted $6 million for the project and are offsetting revenues for that. And then there's the projects at Livingston, Michigan, Moncton, Michigan, and Alfred, Michigan. And that's installation of pedestrian crossings, not the overhead light type, but with the flashing light on the side type. And then, and then the bump outs on each intersection as well. And then at Livingston and Michigan, I think everyone saw the email from Lydia yesterday. And it does include moving the bus stop and extending the sidewalk and that, so. That's those 3 projects, and then the Louisa Street line painting, there's $30,000 is the number that came out of, the Paradigm Report. Talking with Lydia and just my own thinking on that, $30,000 is a lot of money. But we don't have, there's also talk about doing some work on, other crosswalks and stop signs, and there is no money in the budget for that, so that's why I'm proposing to leave that at 30,000. It will do more than Louisa Street, but when we do those line paintings in other areas, that's where we'll get charged.
For, if questions, if I may, who's your chairman?
Yeah.
Louisa Street, are we moving forward with the 4-way stop at Charles?
I think the thing to do there is ask Lydia
Yeah,
to do a further evaluation of that, like the Paradigm Report says, consider it as a possibility. No decisions made on that yet, and I think I'd ask her to do a little bit, because we will be asking her to do the layout for the on-street parking for Louisa. And we'll ask her to review that at that time to see what she recommends.
okay. And then I see Monk in Michigan is listed in here, but I wasn't aware that we were moving forward with it this year. Are we still gonna?
So that is installing pedestrian crossing and bump outs. It's not doing anything with the realignment of Monk Street itself. It's just the intersection. And so it's, again, the type C pedestrian crossing with flashing light on the west side of the intersection. So crossing Michigan west of Monk is where she's proposing.
Like
Like that's,
in front of the Airbnb, the bed and breakfast.
yes, yeah, that's where she's, I mean, even that's not 100% sure, but that's where she thinks it would go.
Okay. And there'd be bump outs there as well.
Yes, bump outs in all 3 locations.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no decision made on any of these 3 yet.
Right.
But I've gotten prices from Lydia, and that includes her time or her engineering time. It includes the money to have a surveyor come in and do what they need to do, and then costs for the actual construction work.
And can we not move these expenses into the St. Clair Street project and debenture at all?
They could, I would say not moving this into the St. Clair project, but moving money that we have in reserves for St. Clair out to pay for this.
So I'm all in favor of all of this, because I think this, if we move ahead with this, this is the year we will change pedestrian safety in the village and deal with a lot of the ongoing traffic complaints we get and issues. And I think I'd like to see it move forward, but at the same time, we're challenged with finding $700,000. So if this could come out of that reserve and then the debenture go up slightly, I think that's the right solution. And then we will change driving habits village-wide almost all at once within the same year, rather than piecemealing this over a 5 or 10 year scope. So that's my recommendation.
So the debenture already has, I believe, some slush.
As
Has some
we are
slush.
authorized to borrow $6 million.
Right, but what our
And
plan is under
Our
6 at the
plan is
moment.
3.4.
So there's a lot of room to
Yes,
So
capture.
what do you want me to do here then?
So I
We
think,
still have to debate it.
yeah, I think what we're saying is leave these 4 expenses. Livingston, Michigan, Moncton, Michigan, Alfred, Michigan, and Louisa Street line painting. Go ahead with those projects. Increase the amount from the infrastructure loan by the total of those 4 projects as an increased revenue. So the 98,045, the 89,477, the 93,1, and the 30,000, add those numbers to
310, 622.
I have a concern about the multi-Michigan one, if we do that. Because the road is, we need, like, are we ever gonna realign the road properly? Because that's a very dangerous corner. Like, what we're doing, we're making it safer for pedestrians on the west side there, but it's not safe to vehicle.
well,
But
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't
no
agree with that.
evidence
I don't
it's
agree with
not
that.
safe for vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've had the OPP do a review. There's been like 5 collisions in that general vicinity in the last 6 or 7 years. And most of them have been related to people pulling in from a parking spot into ongoing traffic. Has nothing to do with the intersection. I think a lot of people avoid, from what I hear from residents, is people avoid that intersection because they don't like it. But there isn't evidence that there's a lot of collisions at that
No,
intersection.
there's not collisions, but there's a lot of near misses. I live down the street,
Yeah.
I see it.
Right,
Well,
Right,
can't
so,
deal with every near
Yeah.
miss that
no,
happens.
but a near miss is it will be a potential accident, it will be an accident at some point.
Yeah.
So that's my only concern there by doing that.
But at the same
We
time,
have to undo some of the work we've done possibly.
but at the same time, I think all of the traffic calming that we're doing along Michigan will bring people into that intersection at a much slower speed,
mhm.
which may reduce the number of near misses. So I think what we're doing is gonna make that intersection safer in the long run.
And that piece that Paradigm suggested with the realignment and widening of the boulevard, I mean, that. I don't know if they give an estimate, I don't remember, but.
Yeah, it was-
like,
It was huge.
$1 million probably or
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
to do that, and. Is that, I don't think that's good spending of
So
taxpayer dollars, I don't.
we go ahead and we do all our project and then we see results.
Yeah.
And if that has a problem, then it becomes a future
and I think
project.
the work we're doing wouldn't be, the cement work would all
Yeah.
have to be removed, but the crosswalk stuff would be repurposed or left. So I think, yeah, it's always sad to spend money and then maybe tear it up in 5 years, but I think we need to move forward on all of Michigan Ave.
The other thing is, all that what Lydia is proposing to put in for the pedestrian crossings are all 1 level higher than what the Paradigm Court suggested.
Well, that's good.
They're 1 safety step higher.
So they will have the lights, each crossing will have push
Not the
button,
overhead,
right,
it's like a flashing
Yeah,
light on the
like at
side.
Front Street
Uh,
at Centennial Park.
yes, yeah,
Yeah, just.
say yes.
Yeah.
And these will be solar, right?
So
Are they gonna be wired?
So far,
No?
yeah.
There's a
I'm not
difference in cost.
I don't know, I don't know.
yeah, I think I got this right.
Got it.
So basically, it's still gonna be $6 million in total. So the St. Clair one would come down by the amount of these crossings. Just a kind of,
No, so this is, the St. Clair Street project will still, the expense will still stay the same, $6 million for St. Clair. We will increase the revenue from the infrastructure loan by those 4 amounts.
Yeah, but we've got everything in under revenue adding up between the 7 accounts to $6 million.
Right,
So we were saying that
these 4 projects though are not the St. Clair Street, they're 4.
no, so I was going to add a line to say those 4 at the bottom would be 310,622.
Okay.
But then that would reduce the difference from before it was the 3,473,000 plus the 310.
Right,
But now you just want to show it separately. So between all the projects and this, it's still gonna be $6 million.
no. St. Clair Street on its own is $6 million. 310,000 for the other 4 projects. So in total, it's gonna be 6.3 million. So we need to increase the revenue on the infrastructure loan by 310,000 and change. And then we're gonna use some of those grants and reserves that we have above. We're gonna use those to pay for these 4 projects that total to 310,000.
Okay, so we'll have to figure this out later. Basically, as long as I get 310,000 off the bottom line for now,
Yeah,
then we'll, okay. Is this,
Do you need a minute, Tina, or
no, Jim and I will figure it out later.
do you want to take a break at all, or?
Yeah.
It's okay. I'm sure.
You sure?
Yeah,
Great, we'll do. About what, 15 minutes? At most.
okay.
Okay, 10.
So now,
See, look at.
so you don't want me to reduce this by the 310. You want to keep this at 6?
I'm just going by. I know someone goes to the trouble of printing these books, so I want to make sure that you know.
Okay, we're back. Oh, sorry.
But the water budget is already done with the storm stuff.
That's why I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
That's where we are now.
Okay, hold on, I gotta
Jason.
find my stuff. Okay, so, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we're gonna resume with water wastewater. Jay, you're up, and Ariana, it's your committee.
Okay, so before Jay starts, there's one addition that wasn't on your sheets that Jay asked me to include, and it's from Blue Sky for $15,000 when he gets there.
And before we go into water, regarding these road projects we just approved, can we just see if we can make every effort to try and get them done this year? I know Lydia said there was some possible, but just, we can just make every effort, that'd be great.
I will call her, or email her this afternoon, give her, go ahead.
Perfect, thank you.
So Jay, all I put down was Blue Sky, and what's that for?
So this is for having proper operation and maintenance manuals formally drawn up from scratch. We don't have any operation or maintenance manual. When the province brought in the providing new infrastructure ECAs, there's a requirement in those ECAs to have operation and maintenance manual. So this would be to basically make those documents up and have them on file. We're doing this same company was the one that is doing the manuals for the wastewater and water side stuff. So I've asked them to give me a price for doing these two as well for the storm system. And price. I just actually got this yesterday. And then for 15.
Okay, so you can finish the rest of them.
Just start off with the items here, so depleting the well reserve, so this is an annual thing. We basically agreed to do a 3-year cycle where every 3 years we're gonna put money in for the reserve every year, and every 3 years we'll go in and do that much value of cleaning, give or take. If it doesn't have enough in the reserve to do all of it, we'll just do $15,000, and if there's, you know, if we do it for $10,000, then money will just stay in the reserve. It's basically cleaning out the wet wells every 3 years. Any questions on that one? Okay. Catch basins, sinkholes. This is the line item that we were talking about earlier with public works, catch basins. So we have $35,000, that's the fix. Catch basins, any sinkholes where there's voids under the road, any sewer leads going around like through the village. Last year, we spent about double. This budget, I think it was pretty close to double, right, having double. Typically the last few years, we've been over budget on that one. So by keeping that other money in the other account, hopefully we'll move up to get everything caught up. But there's a lot of old CFB pipe in the village, and it's all, we're finding there's a lot of it that's rotten, which is creating sinkholes. It's also, once the pipe erodes around the catch basins, we start sinking around because the water is not flowing through the pipes like it should. It's eroding the soil around the catch basins. So that's an ongoing one that we do every year. Station upgrade reserve. So we've been putting money away for a few years. The diesel engines that operate the pumps at the Bayview pump station, they're from the 60s. We've been having some issues with them. We have overheating and overpressurizing of the cooling system. So over the last few years, we've put 225,000 or 250,000 away. Tormont Cat's the only company right now that's willing to work with us. Cummings, Detroit Harper, all the other manufacturers have been down with all these and walk away from the job. They don't want to get involved with trying to retrofit something. So Cat is really close at getting us a set of replacements. We have some numbers now. So we want to add the 75,000 to that reserve in order to possibly go forward with that project this year if we can. If not, it'll be something that will happen next year.
And then didn't you say the 43,000 that we were carrying forward? If we
Yeah, so-
don't, we could use that if,
Yeah, so down at the bottom, we have, it's listed as, diesel repairs parts, so we, put in $43,000
last year.
for repairs. I don't want to have to spend that money on the repairs, basically, if we put $43,000 in, it's a temporary fix. We still have 1960s equipment, so the money is there, if we have to do an emergency repair tomorrow, we can do it. Ideally, we can get these new ones here and get the install done, and if we need that money, we can put that money towards the install of the equipment. The other option we had looked at back in 2018 was a complete upgrade of the station, which included converting to electric pumps with a big standby generator. It was gonna be $720,000 in 2018, so we're looking at a, over $1 million project to do that, so this is the most reasonable way to go forward with this project, is to replace those diesels.
And what's the full cost on that?
Right now, the diesels are approximately, the quote's coming in about $80,000 a piece. The install is about 80,000, and the fuel system we have to upgrade. Well, the fuel system actually is red tag now. Our fuel system doesn't meet the TSSA requirements. So it's about 85,000. And I have asked them to look at putting belly tanks on the new diesel frames to try to get away from the larger storage tank. There's also questions on whether or not we should be installing the new diesel tanks in the building. A lot of insurance companies, a lot of people are installing it out outdoors. So you don't have all that inside the building. So they are trying to see whether they can work with that and possibly make it cheaper by not having to put the whole cooler system in for 80,000. But they're not sure if they can do it.
And there's not a natural gas option for generators of this equipment of this size?
No, and the natural gas, it's kind of there's no rules in place, but there's a little bit of a debate going back and forth right now with both for this kind of thing and backup generators. They're saying that because of some of the incidents, Goderich for one with the tornado, gas lines, they had to shut gas off
Right.
to the municipality, therefore the generators and backup stuff are not run.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing where they're saying going back towards
The diesel, eh?
diesel fuel, so that way it's self-contained fuel tanks and there's lots of arguments that, if you can't get the fuel to the tanks, if natural
Yep.
gas, it's there, it's continuous.
Yeah.
Goderich was an example that natural gas isn't good. They've had fires on west that they can get fuel into the water plants and stuff.
Yep.
So, it's kind of
I remember on our Laws tour, Laws went diesel with their all new generators and for much that reason, they felt they could get diesel delivered rather than interruptions in natural gas.
Yeah, a few years ago, we found out we weren't on any of the emergency.
Deliveries?
Dedicated emergency list.
Yeah.
So a lot of the local municipalities, we fought with some of the fuel suppliers around. They had hospitals and nursing homes that we weren't on for water and sewer.
Right.
So we now got added to that because without the water and sewer, you don't have the hospital.
Right.
You don't have
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other emergency services that you need, so.
Yeah, true.
Diesel, I think, is the better option. It's the cheaper option as well.
Yep.
To bring the natural gas in and see a significant cost. So
Okay, yep.
that's the recommendation that I have right now.
Yep, that's fine.
The cement pads, that's been deferred for a few years, so that was basically to pour a larger cement pad around the north side of the building. Then for heavier trucks, we do the clean outs, we're sinking in the mud, it makes a mess. If we put the new fuel system outside, it could be mounted on the cement pads, but it is it's kind of it's not an absolute necessary thing, But if we do move the fuel outside, then we'd have to pour some cement anyway,
So
so.
we can do it as part of that project
Yeah.
potentially.
But that is when it's, you know, the other stuff is more important to get done. So if we have to take something out of something, we could either reduce or wait and see what happens once the install goes in. That's it for those.
Yeah, the cleaner.
And the blue sky thing, we've already talked about.
Yeah.
And then Alexander.
If we move on to Alexander Storm Station. Again, we have a well cleaning reserve for $5,000, which is again, a 3-year plan. Every 3 years, we need to clean the sediment out of those wells. And the other item is a pipe repair replacement reserve. So the main header pipe on the storm station pumps is at the cradle. There's concrete cradle where the pipe is held in place. It's starting to, there's some leaks there. It's in a spot that you can't repair, you just can't weld in a patch. So it's gonna be a fairly significant repair, or possibly even have to replace the whole pipe. So we started putting some money away in a reserve for when we have to do that. It is coming, it's just gotta be prepared for it, you know.
Any questions?
And then the next one is the water, and that was a pre-approved amount of 150,000 in the water budget back in January.
Okay. Great,
Thanks, Jason.
thank you. Okay, so now we'll move down to fire. I'm gonna step out.
Okay.
Oh, God, yeah.
I'm not on your notes. This is my conflict. It's having a firefighter and that's
And I think,
it's coming at me.
yep,
Okay, and then before Doug gets started, there's 2 new items that are not on your list that didn't get included in time. Or missed somehow. And where did I put them? Okay, one, Doug, Canadian safety equipment, what was that for? I just,
It's, so pump for, testing our hose.
pump.
So we have to do our hose testing annually. The pump that we have now is failing, so we're not getting accurate readings. I have had that, our other pump rebuilt twice. And, we haven't the best of luck with it, so.
how much is it?
Replacement.
And I put $11,000 in there
You did.
based on his,
On the
Yep.
quote.
and then the next one was from AJ Stone. Doug, and what was that for? Sorry.
That's the same, yeah, there's 2 quotes.
Oh, that's
There's
okay.
two- There's just 2 quotes.
Just, okay,
Yeah.
so I
Oh,
have both,
one's
so I can take one out,
Yeah.
one amount out,
Yeah.
one's just, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let me take that 10,000 out there. So basically one item, sorry,
And before,
additional.
before we move into fire, what's our deficit right now, Tina?
We're sitting right now at. We're still looking for 352,000.
We should be able to do that easy here.
352.
I'm still looking for, yeah.
You know, we took out a lot.
We did, but we were,
Yeah, we were that far over. Okay.
Okay.
hold on, let me get back to fire.
Yep.
Ah,
So Doug will run through these line by line. Some of them don't need
Sure.
much explanation,
Set to
but
go.
yep. You ready, Tina?
Go ahead, Doug.
Okay.
The generator, gonna have Claudia speak on that, kind of a combination between emergency management and the fire hall. Claudia is the one that's looked at quotes for it, and I'm just looking at, possible replacement for the age of the unit.
When we do it now or when I go? Yeah.
When you-
Sorry, what are you doing?
The generator.
It's emergency management.
We skipped over the engine truck because, so we've been putting 100 grand in, committee recommended 200 grand this year.
Okay, but
Okay.
comment on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we,
So, yeah, for
Yeah.
the truck. So, yeah, that's up to council for where they wanna go. You know, it's on its way within, I guess, a couple of years, so. They're coming on. I believe the 27th of March to do the final detail spec on it.
Okay, so we're,
Are we okay leaving that at 200? Everyone? Okay.
What's the final vote? It says 1.1, but I thought it was a little higher.
Yeah, I think it's 1.13, something like that. I'll have that exact when he's, when we're done with me.
So if we add this 200, we'll be about halfway. About halfway there, a little bit over half. Okay.
So the next 2 years will be really heavy.
Mhm.
We have to go three over 3 each year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. Generator reserve,
Yeah, so generator reserve, so is it gonna mess you up, Tina, if we do that with Claudia when he talks about emergency management stuff?
Or you can just come up here and talk.
Do either way.
Yeah, just have them pop up here.
you want that moved over to emergency management?
I guess it's a question. I mean, it's at the fire hall, that's the fire hall and police station, but it is emergency management because it's our war room and our shelter also in food box.
Okay, I can move that later, but we can talk about it now.
So, right now, we're looking at installation 1999, so it's about 25 years old. It gets its PM every year. Last PM, I talked to the technician, he said, if you get another 5 years out of it, you're doing pretty good with it. So I get a quote for replacing like for like, and it was around 72,000, not including the installation cost.
Okay, can I, sorry, I've got estimated at 60,000. That went up.
Yes. So the 12,000 is for the upgrade for the enclosure, heated enclosure, things like that. So there's an option there. 72 is the highest of this quote. 60 will get by, but there's some winterization options on that. And this is a very loose quote. Obviously, there's a lot of engineering involved with it. He did start leaning, this was a natural gas option. He did start speaking about the battery powered solar option.
Mhm.
In 5 years from now, I don't know what we'll be looking at, but right now the current one is natural gas and this is the price to replace it. So the current unit's 55 kilowatts. This is a 60 kilowatt unit. That's the closest they can get with the current CAT models. And like the chief said, this is for fire hall, EOC, which is our primary EOC, and also the police station runs off that generator as well. So
I did not know that.
it's doing a couple different things at the same time. It gets tested every month and it gets the annual done on it. So if we can limp it along for 5 years, which he didn't think would be a problem. But we should look at starting to put some aside for replacement down the road.
So then I would say that has to go up to 15 if you want to do over 5 years.
That's what I was gonna recommend, change to 15. And, you know, over 5 years, there's gonna be inflation.
But still, at least it's
Yeah.
covering what we know now.
Okay,
So is everybody in agreement with that?
Except it's going the wrong way.
yeah.
Sorry.
Well,
It's good forethought though.
Okay, chief hose replacement.
A hose replacement, it's just an annual, we don't know how many hoses are gonna fail, how many are gonna be through the year, then that's part of that testing that we do every year also. Personal protective equipment, that's everything from helmets, boots, gloves, anything that the guys wear for PPE, which has to be every 10 years replacement. We do a minimal every year to try to keep up with it. Bunker gear, same thing, just everything that we are getting into, I mean, everybody knows, everything's gone up. Everything is increased in price. I'm hoping this year we can at least get our gear, because last year we were 9 months, right? 8 months before we got it from the order.
Yeah, we ended up switching suppliers.
Yeah.
I have a comment. So these 3 annual items that we put in every year, we've used these prices probably for the last
Yeah.
20 years.
Yep.
So like Doug says, they keep going up. So
Yeah. And I'm trying to always,
I know it's again, better the wrong direction, but
Yeah, yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
How have you spent most of that money each year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've probably been reducing the amount you should be buying because of
Because
the,
of-
yeah, the hose, is it can be a light year. If everything passes, I don't mind.
Yeah, yeah.
If I have some that fail or we have a call that we lose some, then replace them.
So should we increase each line item 10%? Because it's been how many years, Tina, that you think?
Oh,
More
probably a
like,
decade
yeah, I would say
anyway.
more like a decade, probably.
Yeah. So that's
And
why-
given all we hear about at committee is how everything within the fire service is going up in price, like
Oh, it is.
it's,
It is. I'm quite sure everywhere. it is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I know it's the wrong direction,
I know,
Marianne, but
but still, it's reality.
yeah, yeah.
So where do we want me to go with this?
Any consensus at all?
Something you can't do without, right? We have to supply. You know. You go to the truck, there's no hose, it's, you know, there's no point. I think, yeah, we have to do something.
Now, having said that, we do have fire department reserves, do we not? So if Doug lost a whole truckload of hose, is there money
Um,
there?
I don't, my reserve sheet's
Yeah.
not here. I don't know what
No.
happened to get in the book.
I don't see anything.
Okay,
We've got some for training and we got for the trucks, I
Trucks.
think,
yeah, okay, that's all.
Air packs,
air packs,
Certification.
yeah.
but nothing for equipment.
We'll just.
I think you're gonna be
12.
fine for this year. I
Okay.
think we're
Leave
gonna
it
be-
now, but
I
just
think-
keep it in mind,
Yep.
okay?
Yep, that's
So
fair.
consider,
Yep.
We are we're trying to be proactive and buy minimal every year instead of buying. I gotta start buying 30 suits or 30 whatever, I'm gonna get nailed badly, but we go for 3 or 4. And the other thing that we're having issues with is our manpower. Our manpower, we keep somebody for 10, 15 years. That was same gear fit, right?
Yeah,
It's 2 to 3 years, I got new people, they have to be fitted, I can't just put them in whatever.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
have to be fitted, and that's where we get messed up a
Yeah.
bit, so, but I think we're gonna be fine with that.
Okay,
This year we will anyway.
I just wanted to,
Yep.
Okay, so,
so office equipment, does that mean the 3,000 from last year wasn't spent? So
Yeah.
we just carried it forward, okay?
training reserves as, this was all put in there in place for people that we have to send away for training. Mary Ann, you're aware of it.
Mhm.
There is supposed to be monies coming towards us. We've been hearing this for a while. But definitely hang on to it. It's gonna be needed. But hopefully we're gonna get some help in the future. That we're gonna save some money on that, I hope.
So
Tell us we're going to, but.
have you obtained any more quotes for both those courses? Like, is that 25,000 what you need?
You know what, both these courses, just short on them, so the water rescue course. There's all kinds of courses that are out there that they will put on, but until I get someone that's gonna give you the certification that we need.
Yeah.
That's gonna be through NFPA, and we're gonna be protected 100%, I am not spending a penny on it.
Yeah.
And I have not got that yet, and even with everything that's changing with the legislation, with our training. It's not even 100% up yet. But it's something that we need to do if we're gonna continue doing water rescue. We're meeting right now with chiefs to find out which way we're all gonna go towards technician level in different areas.
so I have a question for you. So if we put $25,000 in this training course reserve, a few lines down, it says firefighter certification reserve. Those are two different?
Yeah, they're different.
Okay,
yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
to make sure I didn't.
They're both
duplicate it.
certified courses, but the other one's for, yeah. for
And we do have a training reserve, correct?
Yes.
How much is in it, Tim?
What's left in that, Tim, about 22 or something?
Yeah, we're gonna be fine.
Training reserve.
5 on here.
Okay.
I thought we used a little bit. for-
22.8.
Yeah,
25 is proposing to put in, sure.
Yeah, that's the, but, so it's what's in the bank now.
so last year we had put 25 in and then Doug had some of his guys do that. So we took it out of that reserve.
Right.
That's why it got reduced.
So I'm just trying to get clarification. You feel we need the full 25,000 for those two courses?
Oh, for sure, I'm quite sure.
Okay, that's
I mean,
fine.
the auto extrication course that I've spoken with one of the companies to come in, is I can do it for $3,500 for the course. So what certification? Well, it's not, you get training.
Right.
That's a lot, that's not a lot. It will work, but it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I want something, I'm gonna get some kind of document stating that they're.
Okay.
That for me. The
apron? The
Right.
apron's next, yep.
Yeah, so the concrete for the front of the hall, is everyone aware the front apron has dropped? Probably an inch by now. The trick it had with people coming into the hall, we had a couple people slipping and fall, but wiped out there. So I had two different companies come in. I had one come in for doing a replacement. So I asked them to take from the first saw cut, which is approximately 10 feet on the front of the hall. And they would finish the cut there, and then they'd put a slope up to the cement. That was the one that was 7,000, I believe.
Let's say 8.
Yeah, he said, anyways, he said $7,000 for that, and he'd hold that for a year, no problem. And I took all the reinforcement coming there twice, because you'd have to do it in stages. So he knew exactly what he'd have to do for that. And the other one was to shave it, and I know Steve's done that with a lot of the sidewalks, but the problem with that, it's a Band-Aid. So once you grind it down and match what's there, then when you do have to replace it, now you gotta put cement back to where the other one was, so I highly recommend just do the replacement of the cement.
Which is the almost 8 one.
Yeah.
So then this 11:30 could come out if the
Yes,
8 was approved.
yes. Everyone okay with the 8?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take out the 11:30 then, Tina.
Okay.
Air pack reserve?
Yeah, so as we've been talking about this for a long time, that it's coming, so 2025, it's gonna be hitting us in the face. The only thing I will tell you with the air packs, I'm hoping we'll be able to buddy with somebody else, with other departments that are looking at replacing theirs too. Rick just called yesterday to get a price on their packs, and they've gone up another, yeah. Yeah, so for a $10,000 pack, you're probably $12,000 pack, which is 16 packs, and you gotta buy bottles, and you gotta buy masks. By the time we buy them, I don't know what else we have to buy, I don't really know. So. The
Okay.
big ticket item.
We currently have 75,000 reserves, so this would put us up to about halfway.
Yeah.
And in 2025, you say this project will have to move forward?
And it's, the thing is, our packs are holding their own right now, but it's back to the same thing, it's that 10-year thing. And the other problem we're having is, our packs, we can't get parts for them anymore, so we stopped making them. So you can see what they're doing, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Everything that we're doing, they're making you replace.
Just like the
Yeah,
regular.
they are, they really are, and we're trying to hold on as long as we can, because, but they're pushing us.
Yep. Okay, firefighter reserve at 25. Yeah, you're.
And then the items that were in blue, those were the ones that Claudio was hoping he would get the grant for, but the grant was a no, but we've got them in here to discuss.
So on the topic of that grant. So it was a $5 million provincial grant meant for municipalities with 100,000 population or less. So quite a few municipalities that fit that. Of the 6 Lambton County department or municipalities that applied, 1 got funded. So you look at Lambton County as 1% of the provincial population. You figure 1% of 5 million, we should have gotten 50,000. We got much less than that. So on the topic of that, I'm pursuing that with MPs and all that kind of stuff, because that's kind of ridiculous on how, and then they gave no explanation. They just said, sorry, you didn't get it. Applications are closed. Do not respond.
Yeah.
So I will be
You
responding.
know, the one did get it, what they were going to use it for?
So it was, come to Wyoming, and it was essentially fire department equipment. I believe it was a generator. So having said that, some of the items on that list, I'd still like to potentially pursue, and there's been some interest in a couple of them. The first one there is the EM radios and walkie-talkies. So one of the things that's always an issue is communications during any sort of emergency. So the idea behind this is we would get 7 portable walkie-talkies. We have a spare channel on the grain silos there on Exmouth that we can use as an EM channel that we wouldn't have to pay for essentially. It's already part of our spectrum. And day to day, those could be used by Public Works and wastewater as a daily communication channel. And during emergency, we would all jump onto that channel and it becomes our emergency channel. So it's kind of a dual purpose option.
Is there a way to make that channel the same channel we're on now?
It would be a digital channel up there, so I don't know what you have now, but I don't think so. It'd be, yeah, there's 2 channels sitting up there. We're using one for our Point Edward fire, and it'd be just a spare channel that's sitting there.
Probably correctly, when we were talking about this, about that spare channel, we could use that in my department. So then, we're working, the fire department's not listening to us. We're, public works, and everyone would have their own, but during an emergency.
Yeah.
You could switch.
Yep.
So it's really a beneficial thing to my department. Have those, we don't have that option right now. Everything has to be hold the cell phone, try to communicate.
And even potentially Public Works could use it too during the day as well. I mean, I don't know how you guys would work.
We already
that.
have it in our
You
truck.
got your own,
We
okay,
don't
so-
need it. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
If it was similar channel, then we wouldn't have to upgrade our stuff, right?
right.
Which would make sense because we've already got.
Yeah.
Let's say 10 vehicles that have radio.
Yeah, so we could look into going the other way and getting radios that can work on your channel and then adding that to our, I don't know if it would work with our digital
I think it's
radios.
analog though, not, it's not
Yeah.
digital. I think
No.
everything's analog from there.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah, so there's, yeah. It might not work.
Like-
A lot of the new RFM radios, it's like, they just program, like, the old radios used to have crystals and stuff in them. Now they're all electronic, so if you have a radio and there's multiple channels, they just program the radio to take that number.
Yeah, being digital though, it's a different, I don't know how it works. There's a different process to it.
I think if we acquire these longer term, we can look at whether we upgrade Public Works, which makes sense. Analog is like black and white TV,
Yeah, it works for us and we have a dozen vehicles that have them. So
Yeah.
these things are.
but longer term, we may want to,
$25,000 to upgrade something that really works.
it
for us
works,
right now.
yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, there is some potential to look into that and get Bearcom in to see.
Yep.
But this, for the proposal that's on here right now, would be 7 portable radios. The programming of the base at the green silo, they would actually give 2 of our portables at the fire hall that channel, and then command truck would have that channel too. So if something was happening, we'd have 7 radios in the field, 2 of our fire radios, and then the command truck would have that radio channel as well. We could all talk at the same
Okay.
time.
We
So
okay
you'll
to-
see-
We okay to leave that in?
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
Not that I'm rushing you, but.
No, that's fine.
But
Um,
a suggestion.
Mayor hand is
No,
question.
I'm fine with leaving it in, but these other items, like, I don't know, like you're talking about pursuing the grant and why we got turned down. Is this something you want to hold on? The other items until we sort that out? Or is there something that we're gonna have to need?
I don't think I'll get money.
Okay,
I don't even think I'll get answers.
it's kind of
but-
a long shot.
Yeah, but I want to make them aware that it's
Not fair,
not well done the way
Yeah.
they did it. That's kind of my point there.
or the
is-
work that went into it.
So the light,
Yeah,
But I think the other people
Um,
can do that, Robin.
yeah.
Yeah,
So the portable light, the gas detector and the video conferencing unit,
Yep.
I'm okay with those being removed.
okay,
No,
so the next 3 will drop, Tina?
as far as EM goes, that fixed radio, or sorry, the fixed weather station for the
Yep.
EOC is a big benefit to us. Right now, we're relying on Weather Network, which is based out of Sarnia Airport, which,
Yep.
from here to there is very different. So
Yep.
that would give us pinpoint accuracy on temperature, wind direction, all that stuff. So I'd like to see that, but
Yep.
I understand as far as budgets go.
Thoughts on that?
Radios, I think
Yeah,
Yep,
it's
okay,
important.
yeah,
okay, thank
Get
you.
that information,
Pardon me?
the weather information. Sorry, like your weather station.
Yeah,
Just something that, like a monitor you have in the hall.
yeah, so it'd be a
That's
unit,
something you can share with us.
it's a unit that goes in the roof and it's wirelessly connected to a screen in a fire hall.
But some of them you can share to,
Oh, just we
Weather
pay
apps.
money for weather monitoring.
Yeah.
As it is. So
Yeah,
we can
email
access
service.
that might help us too,
This,
right?
Right.
there is a digital interface for this, so there is a web interface for it, so I can look into that and see if that's something we can, if you went to the website and look. you know,
Or have the app.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an app for it.
Yeah.
'cause I know my
Something-
sprinkler system will look at nearby weather stations that
Yeah.
are using that web interface, so it might be good
Yeah.
to add, if it's a reasonable upgrade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see that, there's a company out of, I think, Toronto that does this, so.
And then that way, if the EOC is closed, you could be checking weather from our secondary location, right? So.
Yeah.
Yes, Mayor.
Jason
Yes,
has
Jason.
hand up.
I was gonna expand on like the stuff that public works pays for. You can add as many people to that as you want.
Yeah,
But there's no more cost to it, so, like, I'm on it, and I get all the information I can get on to see all the reports. We're already paying for it, might be all.
Yeah, I'll just speak on that. It's not very accurate. I've been pretty disappointed with it this year. So that's why I'm reaching to yours, if it's actually local. They've been wrong probably more times than they've been right this year, so,
That's when I get
I
to,
probably will not renew that subscription next year if it's up to me. I'll find another source.
yeah, I can see, because there's obviously different models of this, and I chose the one that was
Yeah.
reasonably priced, but if there's a little bit of an upgrade that we can get it all somehow digitally. then-
and you don't know how much the web interface would add to this, right?
No, I just have the one quote from the company.
Should we adjust this to 2,500? Because it seems like there's an interest in everybody being able to access it, so. You want to do that?
If it's beneficial to,
I think if it was accurate, if it was something we can use, we'd have to look deeper into it.
Yep.
We have money that we spend on ours
Yeah.
now. So there's potential to take that money and direct it toward your system if it will do what we needed to do to keep us within our minimum maintenance standards and keep our bus covered.
Okay, so we'll leave it at this, and then if there is that benefit, then
Sure.
Public Works can help.
We will look at what you need to meet your minimums and then see
Yep.
if this unit does it. I know it does, like rainfall amounts, it does moisture, you know, temperature, all that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah.
So as far as the smoke and seal, I'm gonna skip the drone for a second. Smoke and seal alarms and the chainsaws, I think we are okay without those.
Okay,
What we are considering doing though for the smoke and seal alarms, the plan with those was gonna be kind of a village blitz.
Yeah.
Door-to-door campaign. If you don't have one, we're gonna give you one. We're gonna approach some of our local industry to see if they'll sponsor that, as far as Enbridge or Blue Air Power, some of those companies that give some money to that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And cover the cost of that program through that instead of budget money, so we can remove the chainsaw and the alarms.
okay, thank you.
Looking at the drone, again, this is another multi-departmental use, EM and then fire. Looking at, so the cost of this is 1,700. A lot of departments have these, either similar units or larger scale. This gives us the ability for day-to-day inspection wise to see roofs, see conditions of the building. Someone in the water, we can get that on top of the water. Someone in Tarzan land or the Exmouth Street, it's not forest anymore, but
Yeah.
you know, missing persons, we see a lot of that happening more and more. Any sort of fire or post-fire investigation, this could be used a lot, and it's very common now in the fire service, so. There's a multi-purpose use of this, so I'd like to see it in there, and again, I understand if it's something that's.
My only question is a $1,700 drone going to be robust enough to serve your needs?
This unit will do 4K HD video. And pictures and all that good stuff. There are units that do thermal imaging, so we can actually bring it out in the dark over that land and pick up heat signatures. But they become almost double the cost
Right.
for that.
And I suggested to Claudio is start small.
Yep.
Because you gotta see how they work, how efficient it's gonna be,
Mhm.
and you find out it's a tool that you're using all the time.
Yep.
Then, because let's face it, I mean, they were a $5,000 item
Oh, yeah,
prior for this
Mhm.
little drone.
yeah, from Best
Now
Buy.
it's $1,700. I wouldn't jump into anything
No.
too crazy. We gotta find out. Flying it, how efficient, who can fly it,
Yeah.
there's a lot more to it. So I
And
would
does this come with a case to protect it?
Yeah, case of batteries, the whole thing is an online training that comes with it. And just on the topic of when you start to step up as they get bigger, there becomes licensing
Yes,
requirements. So
yeah.
you have to actually have a pilot's license.
It's based on weight, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this one is under that radar, so it can be flown by anybody, you know.
and I would think if we need some of the fancier features that the OPP would probably have access, we'd be able to access one through them or somewhere. They don't have one?
I know.
Well,
Yeah, I assume they must have
The
one.
missing persons is the.
They have a
OPP.
helicopter, so.
Yeah. We've been through that.
Yeah. Okay,
I think Sarnia has one,
Yeah, that's actually where we got this model from.
so, you know, we can help each other out in a
Right.
situation if we really needed it. Right, work together.
Okay. Consensus?
yep, drone stays in, smoke alarms and chainsaws come out.
Okay. And
Do you want to jump to the next one, Tina?
the
Like,
emergency management, just a top
Yeah.
line.
So the idea with that money and the carryover was, we had these made up years ago. It's basically a fridge magnet flip chart. So I'm working with Cape, or Riverside, wherever they are, to get that updated, because there's some information, radio stations and stuff that really don't help anymore.
Yeah,
And then I'd like to hand those out as part of our annual campaign amongst the village. So that amount will be covered by that, plus there'll be some leftover for some of the EM public events that are happening this year too, as far as the age-friendly event at the arena, getting to the school for EP week, and then open house in September. So
So the 1,400 carry forward and an additional 400 will cover.
Could that also be digitally created to be on our website?
I'm sure it could,
Yeah,
because they're gonna have to take this and digitize it to.
Yeah,
print
if
it.
we could load it up there as well, it would go to everybody. Okay,
So.
so we covered all your stuff, Doug? Okay, Doug, thank you.
We get all that.
Yep, news, yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Walker.
He's not here,
Pardon?
just waiting for Paul.
Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So shall we start with the library, Jim?
Yeah, $25,000 request for flooring and upgrades to the stair treads in the library, and it's kind of just the roof being done and all the leaking that was taking place before that was fixed. So just some upgrades that they asked us to consider.
And they repainted.
They would manage the project for us, so they would look after that.
This is a request from the county.
The big question when things like this is, what's the long-term life of that as our library, right? So, but I think it's a necessary cost now, but it is something you ask yourself every time you're asked to put more money into a older building.
It said that, in the document that we could cut the cost by 5,000 possibly by having, by them taking up the floor,
By having our people take up the floor, or,
something.
okay,
I thought it-
No, it,
No, it's by county people
Yeah,
doing the
county.
install.
yeah, I think that was
I
Nope.
think it was
Floor
25
space.
and then you
reduction
could
of
take
cost.
5 off of that if the county took up the
Okay.
floor.
No, it's not takeout, it's put in. Because the floor, there's asbestos, it can't be taken out.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
yes, put in.
Yeah.
Um,
2x2 tiles.
And it said that wouldn't really be very difficult for them
Okay.
to do, so we could.
Go down to one.
They just said we'd have to hire somebody to do the stairs,
Yes,
but county would do it for $5
I thought
grand.
that was already considered in the 25,000, but
Not the way I
I've
read
had
it.
it for a
double
while. so-
check.
Look at that quick one before I change. Oh, look under fire.
Yeah.
Maybe fire / library.
I think I have to start spending more money because
It's right. It's right in here, it said. if you'd like to
In
make it
yours.
pass,
It's just in your
Staff would
tab.
lay the carpet and apply the other base and save 5,000.
Yes. So I think that we should go with that.
Take 5 off.
But at the same time, it did say that the stair treads aren't included in this quote. So,
Do the stairs need carpet?
no, they were rubberized.
It will be that much money.
I wouldn't think so either, so. Yeah, I think. Or 20 grand then, is
Yeah.
that? And are we okay with having the county do it? They've offered,
Yeah,
right? So they,
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
something off our plate.
Yeah.
yeah.
All they want us to do is
Pay for
pay
it.
for the refurbishment,
Yeah.
so go for it.
Okay.
So we're moving high.
Police radar signs, Jim?
Okay, so that's, Deputy Mayor Grimes proposed to get a couple more radar devices that were just installed on, Michigan Avenue. To have, I think maybe one for Front Street and one for, Venetian possibly. The ones last year were just a little over $5,000 each. We want to go with the same model.
So if they were just a little over 5, we've got 15 in here. Is that just,
I think the reason we went a bit higher is, Steve talked about making them easier to move around if we want to, and so we talked to the guy. And there's like a bracketing system that you can get to move them more easily.
okay,
So I think that's why we went up to 15,
Okay.
just to allow for 2 plus. Some. Yeah, some brackets. We don't really have.
the reason I brought these forward is I personally have had positive feedback for the one in Michigan. I've watched traffic come over Front Street at 60, 65 and slow down by the time they get there. What they do after the sign, I don't know. But I've had positive feedback. I think it ties in nicely with the whole traffic calming approach we're taking this year and addressing speed and pedestrian safety. So, and Paradigm did say Venetian is one of our busiest and fastest roads. So we tend to forget that it's part of Point Edward at times. And then the Front Street section, if we go with 1, that's fine this year as well, but we thought we'd go with 2 just to see how it goes.
My suggestion is 1 with the new bracket system and then compare how it goes. And then if you like it, then add the next one. And I would put it on Venetian.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, I mean, Front Street's had work done. I know they still speed on there, but with the bike lane and that, but I would go 1 now and 1 next year.
The other reality with Venetian is the St. Clair Street project's going to move a lot of
Yeah.
traffic over to Venetian. So I think it's in our best interest to try and get that road under control after we move all that traffic over there. So during the construction phase, right?
I mean, the only reason I wouldn't go, I'm suggesting 1 is because we have to find somewhere
Yep.
to save some money.
No,
It's gonna be a congested area through the summer
Yep.
with the construction ongoing.
Yeah.
And we're looking at 50 new units, so
Yeah.
possibly 100 new residents, more traffic on that street,
Yeah.
so. Try to keep it safe.
So we'll go 1.
1 unit. Just cut
Cut it in half.
75. Okay, the next, so then we go into the municipal office. Christina.
Yes,
So the first item is basically just annual.
top off,
costs
yeah.
We have for licenses and such. 14.5 is for support for our financial software. 10,000 is audit requirements with PSAB with Watson Associates. Asset management money that's set aside, there's 27,000 approximately we're carrying forward. And just some money to top that back up to 30,000.
No, 37. Carrying forward in between. So just,
Sure.
yeah, so then with the PSAB and the top loft, just to kind of bring it up to about close to 50,000 between everything that has to get done.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, I see that. Okay.
And whatever doesn't get used just gets carried forward each year.
15,000 for appreciation night. 6,000 for the calendar. 5,000 for improvements to the flooring in the front entrance, stairs in the municipal office here. This is something that's been talked about for many, many years and just keeps getting put off.
So that's not an actual quote.
Right.
That's just sort of an estimate based on prior years.
And are you proposing tile or linoleum again, or?
No, that's sunburned.
Don't know.
Yeah, okay.
We have somebody come in and give us some ideas.
Good.
and We would do that.
You set the budget and you decide.
Work with that. Yep. The furnaces were budgeted to replace last year and we had, one company come in to give us another quote on it and they suggested that the air conditioning units need to be replaced. And it would be better to do all at one time, so we didn't do anything last year, except for exposing the vents outside that we were told we needed to do, so this 13.9 is addition to the existing funds and would allow us to do both air conditioning and heating units. $10,000 for Christmas in the Village.
Coming from Matt.
Okay, thank you.
$10,000 to the election reserve. $10,000 for special events at Waterfront Park, which would be our Canada Day celebration. What we contribute to that each year.
And again from Matt.
And is the 5,000 from the casino still considered a revenue, or is that dried up?
Yeah, no, they partnered with us last year. We don't put it in anywhere as a revenue.
Just kind of our portion, of the
Right.
budget.
At least as a budgeted revenue, we don't.
Right, okay, yeah,
And if we get it, we'll spend it.
Yeah.
And add into the event, but if we
Okay.
don't, so. Carrying forward money for security throughout the village. eScribe software, that's our annual cost for our agenda software. $10,000 for new chairs for the council chambers, and that's these chairs up here, not the ones up here.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
I don't feel like my chair needs to be replaced.
I don't either.
This is a nice chair. I just think,
This one does.
Anyway, I can't use that one, but I also don't think that $10,000 is necessary.
Well, there was
$200
quite a
replacement
few
chair.
different in your book. There's quite a few. So we
Mhm.
just did so you guys could decide.
Yeah.
I talked to Carolyn and she said she was quoting the top of the line premium item and that we could drop it to anything we want, but.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying, for the amount of time we spend in
Yeah.
these, it's just that we've now got mismatched and it's a bit of a. But at the same time, for the amount of time we spend in them, it's a lot of money.
And if we were going to replace all of them, I think that maybe $1,500 should cover it. I don't think that we need to spend
Mm-mm.
No,
money
Well,
on
They're at least $1,000 each, but in chairs, right?
why. Because you can get chairs like
Some of the
chairs
quotes
similar
are-
to this for much cheaper than.
Are much less. Yeah, I have an issue with the price. I'd
Yeah.
like a new chair because I always sink through the meeting, but I think that's a little extreme.
Like, I understand.
What
like,
we
I
did
guess
is,
as well.
because there were so many different chairs that she gave us, we went with the highest price.
Mhm.
And then you guys can go through and pick something out. So you're not gonna, you don't have to spend 10,000.
Mhm.
But it was just to give you, if you did like the top of the line one, that was, you're not gonna spend more than 10.
so you have to keep in mind, there's 7 chairs that would need to be replaced. That's even at $500 a chair, you're $3,500, and 500 is a pretty bare bones basic
Yeah.
chair.
my chair's fine.
Okay,
Mine's fine. I just say pick out the worst.
Yeah, like if we were gonna replace all of them, I would say I'm fine sitting on this for that amount of money.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, it was brought for, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter to me.
But I
can't
think if you're
justify
going
that.
to, you need to, and certain people want their own chair. I think you still gotta go with something similar to what you're
Yeah,
keeping.
I try and match up as best as possible, but again, just trying to find somewhere that we can find. some
I
time.
never noticed that there was any difference. But
Yeah.
I don't care either.
we'll drop it.
So do you wanna drop it in half and just replace the ones that have to?
The cheapest quote here is 3,500.
I think we just drop it.
Just drop it completely?
Yep.
But, I don't know.
That's where Jim sits, we don't care.
Yeah, like as long as nobody minds.
Just change the
chair. Just like that chair is, like, it doesn't stay upright, so,
And this chair sinks. so-
but I'm fine sitting on this chair as long as nobody minds the mismatch, like one of those
Can we get a repair chair?
probably costs more.
I don't think, yeah.
I doubt it.
Oh, Manly's does repair chairs
So-
and doesn't
Can you
use.
replace 2?
Kim, you're
and just
basically
match the
saying you
color?
would like a new chair,
Yeah.
Eric, Anna, and so basically you need 3 chairs. So,
Yeah, it's just that you want in your council chambers to have some continuity. or
exactly, so if they can get an agreement to what
These
you
are,
have, and I think there was something similar in there.
Could be,
yeah, they may still make this fabric. So if we can replace Jim's and Ariana's and.
So that's why I said, if you
Tim's.
go half, you could probably be able to
Yeah.
get 3 chairs that need
Yeah.
replaced.
Okay.
This one's good.
So cut it
Yeah,
to
so
5.
replace theirs and then I'll just come in at night and swap it over to here.
Yeah, that's all we'll do is just move them. 5,000 then for chairs.
Are you okay with that?
I don't want to say okay, but
Well,
are you okay? Yeah,
I think that's just way too high, but I mean, I'm not gonna say that.
but if you're gonna get something that's similar to what you
I
have,
understand.
I think you're going to spend close to that on 3 chairs.
Just some of the things that we're cutting seem more
important.
important than 2 or 3 chairs.
You
But
want,
that's just one opinion.
Well, how many chairs have been 3? Why don't you just go $3,000 then, 1,000 a chair? And if we can't get them for 1,000 a chair,
Then we don't get them.
yeah,
I'll put up with it
yeah.
Okay,
okay,
for another
Great.
5 years.
Okay, 3,000 it is. Then
And just try and match them though.
Yeah.
That's,
Then we've got the suggestion for our 150th anniversary is coming up in 2028. And suggestion to start putting some money aside for that, $50,000. Also. This next item is $100,000 reserve for upgrades to waterfront park washrooms. And there's been some discussion about the self-cleaning washrooms, and then there's also been discussion about winterizing the existing washrooms.
do you want to do these one at a time, Jim? Want to go back to that 50,000 reserve?
Yeah.
Did we have any feedback from any other municipalities that have celebrated 150? I know Mayor Han, you were.
well, Victoria's in the middle of it. now.
And what about Watford? They did 150
Oh, yeah,
recently
they-
too. I was thinking, because they're similar in size to us.
I didn't ask them about cost, but like, for example, Petroia's having the musical ride in June.
Yeah.
That's another one of their,
So I was just curious what other municipalities maybe budgeted for it. I know we're at the beginning, we're still a few years away. But curious if anybody had numbers that they have spent.
50 seems a little, I mean, I think we can go down.
yeah, I threw it out there
Yeah,
as,
I know, because we didn't know and.
when we had nothing, and then I thought we can always, yeah, I threw it out there as a number, and I think part of it depends on what we want to do. Like, if we want to have a bridge bash to end all bridge bashes, we're gonna need 200 grand. And then some. If we're just gonna have a couple little street parties, then we could drop this in half easily and still have an impact. It depends how much impact we want to have on this party, so. And I think we need to understand too, like Jim checked in what it would cost to have a snowbird to do a fly past, and it was $40,000.
35 to 40,000.
Yeah, that's not even with
an
them
air show.
air show, yeah,
My thought was a flyover. They gave me the price for a show.
yeah,
And don't even know that, I mean, that's just one thought.
yeah, but like the.
those drones.
Yeah. Yeah. Bob's your uncle. Yeah.
So what do we want to go down to?
Even 40, take 10.
25?
25, you said, Tim?
Yeah,
Well, it just depends what you want to have
So I'm just
in
trying to
twenty
find,
twenty-eight.
we still have a
and
lot
then
to
we,
get out.
when we're further along, we'll have more of a plan, so then
Yeah.
we know, but at least that's something
Yep, yep.
to start with.
Okay, 25,
Sure.
Okay,
100,000 for the waterfront park washroom upgrades.
Now let's talk to that a little bit. So I've had a couple residents talk to me about it, and I know Graham Bend and a couple other communities have installed these,
Grand Bend's the only one that's got one.
and other communities outside of Landon
Yeah.
County. It's my understanding that these self-cleaning ones are fully winterized as part of their design. The question is whether we can build it inside our existing structure would be where I'd like to go, like rather than start brand new. So the price number,
The one you're speaking about, it actually built in Quebec and dropped on site. Like you're talking about the urban.
but they do make, yeah, they do make other, like I did see on their website, they do other designs and retrofits possibly. So it'd be having a conversation with them, but similar to that, yeah.
So you want to go set.
Well, it's self-clean and winter and year round is the two big parts of it. So,
Be interesting to see how Lambton Shores, how that looked at one.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I think they only had it installed last year, so it'd be interesting to see if it's actually self-cleaning.
Yeah.
How well it fared through the winter, like, it'd be nice to use them as a litmus test. a
Yeah.
little bit For something that costs $500,000.
yeah.
Their mayor mentioned it. We had the mayor's breakfast earlier this week. and in his speech about his community. He talked as if they just put it into service. So I'm not sure how much.
So it was
they-
last summer, I believe. I had a meeting with Irving
Okay.
Blue. And they said they were installing it. That was last spring and they were installing it that summer. So it's seen probably half a summer and a winter if it's been open for, I don't know if they kept it open for the winter or not.
And when you spoke to Urban Blue, did they ever talk about whether they could retrofit existing?
They just spoke to me about a drop on site one.
Right.
Basically, all you gotta do is have water and like it's got a water heater in it. So
Yeah.
you just need to supply cold water and a discharge for the sewage.
Yeah.
And they bring it in. It's got heated floors already poured into it, everything.
Yeah.
You slap it together and like it's 2 or 3 day process because it's built in a factory.
Okay.
So.
And then I think a number of these items, I talked about it being part of a legacy project for the 150th. So if we were to move ahead with it, it would be considered part of that. So
So what number do we wanna? Leave the 100,000 for now, or?
I'd rather see us investigate winterizing one of our existing washers. I can't justify 100,000, I can't justify 500,000. Considering, the money that, we gotta spend on debentures and all that in the next couple of years, we got a new fire truck. Like, I think those are more important than a washer.
The only thing
I know
could-
people won't agree with that, but
The only one thing I could see, like if with the splash pad washrooms. You got the back room you would have to heat, and to be honest, if you were gonna open it, just open the accessibility one, just heat that one unit. Rather than, we don't need all of them heated, so you heat one unit that's a all gender.
Yeah.
Accessibility and heat the back room so the plumbing stays. That would be a way of, if you want, but it still needs to be cleaned. And you're probably electric heat, so this is gonna cost operationally a lot of money.
and it would have to be locked and unlocked, which
Yes.
that's the problem now is that when we're open during the summer season, the locking and unlocking is,
We have that accessibility porta potty costs us $2,000.
yeah.
A
And
month?
we do not have any maintenance attached to it, we have nothing attached to it. So that's, it seems to get used, maybe that's something
Okay.
like at $2,000 a year, you add another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, somewhere else, and so. Look at that from a cost perspective, we do not clean it, we do not maintain it.
Yep.
They do all of that.
Yep.
So.
Mhm.
When they're emptying it once a week. That tells you how much it's being used.
Yeah.
So I think you have to weigh those things as well, right? We don't make any money off that.
Yep. Yeah, no, I was just asked to bring the idea forward, so if you guys want to remove it, that's
Yeah, I don't think it's something we should take off the table forever.
right.
It's something to revisit continuously, but it would be nice to see how it works out in Grand Bend, over a little bit of time, over like the winter. What kind of costs are associated with the heating, for example. And ideally, it would be great to have something like that because a lot of people still do use Waterfront Park in winter. It's not just a summer destination.
So maybe out of this, we could ask for a staff report to talk to Urban Blue on what could be done at that location and to talk to Land Shores about and
Their
bring
experience.
that to committee and just so we have it on the record and make
Sure.
decision. But it wouldn't be anything we do next year. Like it would be, so take the 100
Yeah.
grand out, but
Yeah.
do a staff report.
Right.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Then the next item was sidewalk on Alexander Street or Alexander Avenue from the arena to Venetian. Kind of replacing that sidewalk that's there with continuation of the multi-use path system in the village. We didn't get prices on this. It's something that was talked about in the planning stage of St. Clair Street reconstruction project. The eventual land exchange with the Blue Water Bridge Authority, take over and expand it Veterans Park. And they talked about running the path through that park and then along the property line of the arena out to Alexander and then heading back down to the waterfront. That sidewalk is in pretty good condition. I think it's maybe a bit narrower in spots, but there is definitely concern around land availability, like if there's wide enough to put our standard multi-use path, but I think this is another one that we can look into a little bit and investigate possibilities. So that we didn't put any money in the budget for right now.
You could also tie it in.
600 meters.
Yeah.
We could also tie it into the Veterans Park project
Essentially, yeah.
when that happens.
Yeah,
when
That's
it-
true.
Yeah,
Yeah, when the land swap happens and we upgrade
when
the
it's
park.
finalized.
Yeah.
So the next item is a waterfront park music and entertainment series of events down there to draw people into the community.
And the reason I brought this forward was I was asked to, and with the loss of the farmer's market, we're not really doing anything to bring people there. I thought with the permanent installation of the electrical panel, it could make it easier if we do bring some entertainment in there, but it was just merely to allow a band or bands or solo people to come in, and we would pay them and let them play for 3 hours or something like that on a Thursday night, and try and get some people to the park and provide some entertainment. So that's why I threw it out there. And conceivably, it could go to Matt Tax if we wanted, because it is designed solely to bring people to that park. So
We have $3,000 in the farmer's market reserve,
well, there we
you
go.
know, we just do a pilot program, 3,000 and see how that would work.
And offset it with that reserve.
I don't know, it's just a possibility,
Well,
just
and-
throw it out there.
Some people will come for free.
I was just gonna say that.
Right? Some of the
Yeah.
bands and that, they just want to have a
They
place
just
to
want
play.
an audience.
Yeah,
If almost like a busker
yep,
where they play for tips, and if you're walking by, you like the sound, you throw money in the hat or whatever they have set up, guitar case. And do it along that line. You know, they'd have to be authorized by the village to be
Right.
there, but we wouldn't pay them. They would do it at their expense as long as we had a facility for them to use.
We would have to spend some money on something, I'm imagining. right?
Advertising.
We'd have to put a platform in or something.
Yep.
Right?
Well, that's what I mean, if they had a place like where it was established.
So you won't be able to platform it. Well, you won't be able to do any kind of construction or dig on the ground or
No.
anything like that.
So that limits.
but we've had a band there before.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to do any construction for them.
Yeah, we brought out the stage from the,
You could, well, why not
Community
just, why not, if we're gonna do something like this, why not look into maybe a trailer stage that can be pulled in by a truck and set up, and then whenever it needs to be used, it's just something that gets set up on the service road.
Well, they set up in the pergola and the people were on chairs down around it.
Okay.
Do you know? Oh, you.
Yeah,
you were here
there's
then.
limited space there.
Yeah,
but- and-
well, it was,
Oh,
it was like a small, like what do you call that choir? You know, the men's choir or something. It was a smaller group, quartet.
Yeah.
So they were up there. It's when we used to do the Strawberry Social, and then the chairs were around on the ground, so you were down looking up at the people.
Could we not drop a cement pad where we're putting the electrical panel? Just a 10 by 10 pad in front of the electrical panel area? It wouldn't be,
I'm not sure.
it would be similar to the ones we're putting in we've put in for the picnic
Yeah.
tables, right? They're sort of at grade.
We have been told even planting trees in Waterfront Park can be a problem.
Yeah.
It could, you know, it's with the archaeological concerns. So, I mean, when we're doing the playground, we've been told to have to put down
Yeah.
stuff so we're not compacting the ground, like it's fairly strict restrictions there on what we.
How do we do the picnic table pads? Did we just,
I don't, that's a good question.
I think it was
Um,
before we ever got the
maybe-
concerns.
Beg forgiveness,
okay,
Yeah.
potentially, I don't.
I wasn't here for that, so I can't speak.
Wall
on that.
diamonds there, so you already have a base.
Yeah,
But
No, we're
the
not.
ones out near the
Over by
fry
the
truck,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I think something portable there anyway, because then you could have it anywhere, right? So
Yeah.
say if the fish hatchery wanted to have some kind of,
mhm.
you know, jamboree, you could put the stage over there, or
Yeah.
you know, if you're having something portable, I think from a stage perspective, maybe makes more sense than dedicating a spot, because that gives you more options.
another thing I caution us on is expecting musicians to perform for free. I dealt with the musicians union in my job at Rogers, and playing music is their career. It's how they pay their bills. It's how they live. So to ask them to come down and perform for tips, well, it works in Nashville. I don't know if it would work in Point Edward. So I just caution you on, you might get what you pay for, and we should be respecting their talents and offering them some money to
I
play.
didn't exactly mean for free. I'm sure we give them something, but I was thinking more at the high school level. And the Lambton girls, the Lambton choir,
Right,
they sang at Petrolia.
yeah.
Petrolia might have given them a gift, but I don't think they were paying for them to be there.
If I can just build on what Deputy Mayor Grimes just said, I think that if we are going to roll something like this out, we want it to be done well from the beginning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it could end up like the farmer's market, where it just doesn't bring in a lot of attention, and then it'll dwindle off over time and turn into sort of a waste of those funds.
Yeah.
Whereas if we start it, start it well and strong, it will attract a lot of attention, hopefully, and keep the attention. If the very first one is not entertaining for people, they're not going to jump at the chance to come back. They might stop and enjoy if they're already here, but that's not exactly what we're hoping to get from this. We want to bring in people to attract them here when they otherwise wouldn't have come. So I think it's more of, do we spend the money to do this, and which can increase, revenue in the future, or do we wait, maybe create a reserve for it and start it sometime? But I don't think it's something that we can just do with a small pot of money and succeed.
Well, I know Sarnia, they have a couple nights a week through the summer,
Mhm.
so that's competition, right? They've got Germain Park they use Centennial down by the waterfront, down by Bayside Park there, so, that's competition, and they draw a fair amount of people to those events.
And in my note, I commented that, find out when their schedule is, find a night that they're not possibly doing it and look at doing it. So do we want to just drop it to 10,000 and put it to mat tax and see where it gets us? And then you can do the math and divide, if it's going to cost us 500 a night, then we only get so many nights, right? I don't know.
I mean, I don't think today is the day to sign detail.
No, I
If
agree.
you want to make an investment.
Yep.
Then make an investment, and then, the first question that comes to my mind is who's gonna organize all this?
Yeah.
I have no connection to the music scene of any other than how to turn on the radio in my car. I don't know who to contact, and, so who's gonna organize?
Yep.
Is a concern for me, and I agree with Ariana. We want to do this well, and to me, it's something, maybe you do it once a month.
Yep.
And, bring in some
Decent.
some better known talent, maybe I guess you'd say, and try and see where we go from there. But yeah, definitely do it right.
And of the 10 grand, if we find that we need to pay somebody to coordinate this on our behalf, you find somebody say, can you arrange 4 concerts in the park for us, and they take us something off the top, I would support that. I agree the manpower and to do it right. So like somebody who has the connections.
So if we put 10 here and bring 3 in revenue out of the, we might as well take that money out of the farm market
Yep.
reserve. It's not.
And close it up. Yeah.
Use that money, so bring in a $3,000 revenue from the reserve and $10,000 expense, is that?
Yeah.
Acceptable to everyone?
And do we want to charge it to Matt?
I think that's a great, relevant use of the
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
Don't know where we're at with all that now.
And have staff look into possibilities of,
Go in the reserve. 100 years old isn't stuff.
Okay, thank you.
like they say, get something from staff to say, here's what's involved. So we can, have some kind of report come back to committee. Yes, we can do this, or maybe we can't, but it's probably what. What's that?
As far as what.
As far as location,
Frequency,
frequency,
like just,
where, location, like a stage of some sort or something like that, do some investigation into this.
So basically, I have to do it in 2 lines then. So 3,000 would come from the farmer's market reserve, and then 7,000 from Matt?
No, 10.
No, 7 and 3 is 10.
No, we want
But
it.
you got 2 different
We want it
sources.
13.
Oh, you want 13?
That's
I
what I
thought we were
understood.
I thought.
Oh, I thought you were just going, I didn't know you were doing that. Okay, yeah, so you're right then, Tina.
what I was anticipating was a $10,000
line item.
$3,000 revenue.
So 3,000 of the 10,000 will come from, but then 7,000 will come from that.
Yes.
So-
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me figure all this out. So. So let me just show this. Hold on, guys. $3,000 here. And this about to sell. June. $7,000 out of the waterfront park. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
The next is municipal property asset review, and this kind of came out of when we were talking about the building for the environmental services department, an idea to kind of review all of our assets, all of our buildings, and see what our needs are. Bring your good self to look at that.
And I just, background, the reason I brought this forward is I think it's a very small community. We have a lot of real estate and a lot of silos. So seeing if a consultant could come up with a plan to amalgamate some of our facilities and potentially sell some to offset costs and look at grants and the whole deal. So I think we may be able to bring together both work groups and buildings potentially, and having an outside person give us that advice might show that it's not feasible at all, but might also show us that it's a worthwhile. We have some land at Public Works, we have some land at the arena, we have this building, which is commercially viable. It's a nice building in a good location. So that's what I was looking at. And the 25,000, it could be 10, I don't know, but we just threw that number in there as a whole place.
Discussion on that one.
I think it's something that should be done at some point.
Yes.
What that point is, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
If that's now, if it's something that, if we do it now, it will likely save us money in the long run. Like you said, the 25 is a placeholder, so
Yep.
how much that costs, I don't know, is it worth the cost to do this year? Likely.
Especially with the increase in population coming. I think we need to evaluate every one of our locations to see if they're applicable big enough. Village double in size in the next number of years. So our existing facility is appropriate for the future. Especially with all the development to the south end. We don't have any, we don't have a lot down there, right? The only thing is the pump station, and that's about it. So we may have to think about, as I said, like, we gotta think to the future. And this would force us to do that, right? And an expert opinion on what they would suggest. I think that'd be a good step. I don't know the number amount, but I think it's a good plan for the future.
I'm wondering if it's better to wait till next year when we get a better handle on these developments, because nothing's firm yet.
I I hear you saying, but I just think that if we don't start now, in another year, we're gonna be almost too late. So I think we need to get it started now. And then, because even if we approve it today, Jim's not hiring a consultant tomorrow. This will probably be another 6 months before we even start moving forward. So we have to come up with the scope of what we want them to find. We got to find the consultant. We've got to do this. And so we're going to be into third or fourth quarter before we even launch this project. So
Even next year,
yeah,
like, yeah,
potentially.
it'll take a while to set up.
Yeah.
I think it's something that's beneficial to us. As much as I hate spending money, but we have to in this case.
I agree.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
personally feel like this is something that the sooner it happens, the better the outcome will be.
What did we spend on the wastewater capacity study?
80s.
75, and I was gonna say 70, so.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a frame of reference in my head. I'm just, it seems like a lot, but I don't know
It was more.
exactly. What's that?
It was more.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
I would think, I mean, I have.
It's not
I
done
don't-
yet.
I don't know how this compared to that.
Yeah,
I mean, they have a lot of assets to review for the capacity review.
yeah. I know
It
it
was
was,
70
it was very
something,
detailed.
That
Okay.
and some engineering.
Yeah.
So up
Right.
6,000.
And we may even find, Mary Ann, by approving it now, Jim may go and get quotes and find out we need another 25. So it would be next year because, but I think we also have to have a cap on how much we're willing to spend to get this information. So, but
Well, I'm also thinking about, we haven't got the water study back,
mhm,
and what's it gonna say to us about what we need to spend there,
mhm.
right? So, just trying to think about where all this money comes from. The last we heard, like, maybe the end of the month, we get the water study, the latest.
That's basically where we kind of left it open and we want to see if anyone. So hopefully.
Okay, that's,
Yeah.
stick to what we're doing.
Okay, so we're gonna leave the 25,000 in then?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
Police department exterior lights, 2,500.
2,500. I
That
don't
was,
have anything.
that was actually taken out.
Okay.
Are you talking about the police department or
Yeah.
the sign at the?
Well, police
No,
department.
there's nothing there.
I don't have anything there.
On my agenda, I had 2,500, so maybe it was taken out of the committee meetings, I just.
Oh, no, I think you said you would cover it in operating. It was a minimal expense.
So Point Edward sign, we took that out, I think,
Mhm.
as well. Now, talking to the deputy mayor, like, I was thinking something in the turnoff. I guess the idea is just one of the blue signs on the highway, so I don't think we need to put anything in the budget for it, but I will continue to look into it.
Do you know what I was talking about when I mentioned it too? When you come off the bridge and leave customs, there is a sign on that side, just a blue
Yeah.
sign says Point Edward population 2,000 and change. And there's one coming in from the US, but there isn't one coming down 402. Like that's.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
And I even said to Jim, even if it is mounted on the Christine Street overpass, possibly up there, like if they have an issue with this being in the Clover Leaf or whatever. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an MTO call.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
Jim's gonna reach out to
was-
them.
I asked about it in my first term and I was told it had to come through the MTO.
Yeah, I got it from the county that it was a no,
Yeah.
based on the MTO, so. We can go back at it.
Trail tactile warning system, so this is at Fort and Alfred. And kind of a follow-up to work that was done on Alfred Street a couple of years ago, or 2 years ago. And the Deputy Mayor Grimes was wondering if we need to go further than we did. So I got an email from our former operations manager explaining why we stopped where we did. And we're meeting our requirements, not to say we can't do more, but we are meeting the requirements that are in place currently, so it's,
So Siren, you did it just because they wanted to?
I guess so, and
No.
there was construction on their
Anytime
part.
you replace the
They had to
sidewalk, yeah.
replace the
Oh,
sidewalk.
okay.
Yeah.
So they replaced theirs, so we didn't replace it.
Because they were replacing.
Right.
Okay, good, thank you.
That's why we took that.
So
They're in the
it's-
trail site, I went and looked the other day, it's concrete where those tactile plates are. So
Right.
every time their trail, where they have to have them, they end the asphalt and then concrete.
Right.
So it's when they're replacing.
So that cost would probably be even more than 10,000 if we had to do 3 cement pads
For
are
some
tucked out.
reason, they're doing it in concrete. I haven't asked them why, but everywhere I looked, I went and looked around at some of the new trail sites.
Okay.
If you look at Canadair, if you look at Confed, they're all stopped, then it's concrete with the tactile plates in the concrete, so there must be some reason.
Yeah, you must have fixed into the concrete better or whatever.
Yeah, or they don't sink, I don't know.
Yeah,
but-
yeah. Okay,
So it's not that we can't do it. It's, we are meeting requirements.
Yep.
So take that one out for now.
It's already out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then upgrading the sign at Christina in Michigan has already been approved and is well underway.
and that includes the new light, right?
And I think we changed that number to 5,000, right, Tina?
Mhm.
Yes.
And then I'd like to consider adding in, I was contacted by the county planning department, so they have gone and tendered for zoning bylaw updates for 3 municipalities, ourselves, Fulton, Wyoming, and Warwick. And those are the 3 that did their official plan amendments together at the same time, and they're looking at doing our zoning bylaws now. Our zoning bylaws about, it was passed in 2012. And they are recommending 50/50 cost share, and they're telling us our share would be $30,000. So putting that in, the thought that crossed my mind, I don't know exactly what we call that reserve, but the reserve that we have from selling, a
Alexander,
lot on
Alexandra.
Alexandra, I think would be an appropriate use of that money if you wish to proceed and you wish to find funding for it, that might be a source of funding you would consider.
There's 88.5 in there. And there's
This-
also the planning license and permits reserve is 65,000.
I don't know if that's from building permits.
Yes,
I'm not sure.
it's got to do with planning, so
Yeah.
that line up more with zoning.
It
It doesn't matter, there's money there.
yeah. I don't, that second reserve you mentioned is more for, like, if we were to be sued for legal, or something to do with a building permit was issued, it's more of that kind of thing.
And I think if we have to return any monies,
That's right.
remember there
Right,
wasn't any.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
will this be a multi-year project or will it be done this year?
We don't know yet. So the tenders are in, not open yet.
Okay,
So it'll just, I would think we're in March, we're in April, basically. I'm sure in the proposals there'll be timelines.
right.
Well, I would think it would be pushing it to get it completed this year, but it would be. I mean, they're bringing in an outside private consultant and they'll wanna get the work done.
But if it's coming out of that reserve, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah.
So, sorry, so where did you want it to come out of?
That, from that
Lansdale?
sale of Alexandra.
Okay, add 30,000 up there.
Which really didn't do anything because it's a new expense on our sheet. right?
Yeah, it's a new expense, but at least it's funded.
There's a line item called sonic wall replacement. Is that anything?
That was, no, it's an IT thing.
Oh,
and-
okay,
And don't remember the details of why it's there, but it's
okay.
looked after already.
Sorry,
Sounds like
hold
that.
on.
It is
What's that?
Nobody knows what it is.
Just give me a minute here.
Okay.
You guys are going too fast.
Stand by.
security stuff. Right, Claudia? Firewall, yeah. Keep the hackers out.
Oh.
We'll have a Hamilton.
Well, since then it's moved, right, to the Huntsville.
That's 30,000.
Huntsville.
Huntsville.
Okay, so that's just placed in and out.
Okay,
Hold on,
then,
hold on.
oh,
Get back to where I was. Okay. All right, so that 30,000 is covered by a reserve, okay?
okay. Then in the other items of municipal office, provision for reserve, so 375,000 going over the operating side. $1,000, or I think we'll probably leave that one until we start discussing the operating budget.
Yeah.
$1,000 for transit subsidy.
And then I had the zoning bylaw down here, but you had already discussed it up above,
Okay.
okay?
And then we get into donations.
Do you want a break for lunch and then do these?
I just have a couple of things that we
Okay.
blew through at the beginning really quickly, that I just wanted to talk about, the 2024 calendar.
Mhm.
This might be controversial because I know the calendar has been out for a very, very long time. But I'm wondering if there's a way that we can at least save on those costs, not totally get rid of the calendar, but whether we can do a limited number of calendars available for people who are interested in them. Or Claudio had the magnet for emergency management that he's hoping to distribute. Could we have a one-page calendar like incorporated into that, something that's gonna save us part of that $6,000, because I personally don't use my calendar every year. I understand that it has benefit. It tells you when garbage collection is. But all of that information can be found on the social media page, the website as well. I get that not everyone uses it, but I think that at some point in the future, it's a transition that we should be making. And I think that there's gotta be a way that we can cut that expense down. I'm not sure. how
Last-
we
yep.
do the-
Last year, we did ask staff to create a digital version of the calendar
Mhm,
to go out with the paper calendar
Mhm.
and see how it was received.
mhm.
I don't think we moved forward on that, did we?
Well, we put all the information online. We don't,
Right, but you can, like, so Pima, they create their calendar online and then you subscribe to it. And it actually populates things right into my phone. I don't have to do anything. So if Pima cancels a game on Tuesday, it just drops out of my calendar. If they add a game on Thursday, it just gets put in my calendar. So you create an online, you transfer all that data to an online calendar. A resident can subscribe to it. And then it just populates their phone or their iPad and everything's there. So you just look at it and say, oh, it'll pop right up in there. It's garbage night tonight or whatever. And that's what I thought we were considering. Then Councilor Nagi, you could look at how many people are subscribing to it, and what use it is. I know some of our older residents love their calendar. They mail them out and so.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we should abolish the
Yeah.
calendar entirely, because I understand that there may be many residents who use them. Do we pay per calendar? What's that?
there is a printing cost, and
Mhm.
what we've been told over the years is the number we print, like printing, you don't save money by printing less, like because of
The volume.
print
Volume.
500 copies, it's X dollars a copy, and if you print 1,000, it's a lot less per copy, so that
Mhm.
you're. I don't know how the number is arrived at with print, but it's a diminishing return on cutting down on the number.
And that's if we were to continue to print the, with the wall calendar.
Mhm.
It would be significantly cheaper, I'm sure, because it would be just one page. If it was a one-page calendar, 12 months still on the calendar,
Mhm.
one page. And you would have the legends that would show you when garbage days are, all of the
Mhm.
events that are going on in the community. That would still allow for every resident to have a calendar, so that, because the cost would be the same, right? If the cost is the same per account for printing one for everyone versus, for those who want them, it could still cut down the cost significantly. I know it's only a couple of $1,000, but again, everything counts, and I think it's wasteful at this point for a lot of households.
Well, I mean,
I
think this is.
I wouldn't support that.
Gonna take all day.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well, that's why I started with, I know it's gonna be
Well, I
controversial.
hear the people that come in to the front lobby
Mhm.
and hear the phone calls that we have an older population in our
Mhm.
community, and the calls start in November. When's calendar coming? It's so well received, and the wait for the pictures, and I know it's a fair amount of money, but I think it's so well received, and there would be a backlash if we were to take it away.
Yeah.
You think it would still be the same sort of backlash if it was
Yes.
like one page
I do.
versus?
I do, yep.
Absolutely.
I think the calendar, every new counselor basically asks the question, and it's not a hill I'm prepared to die on, the calendar, and I'll support it continually the way it is. I agree it's 1970s technology, and but I think if we can add to it by adding this online subscription calendar to supplement it, I think it's a win-win. But I honestly, I think, yeah, I can't support it. I made similar speeches
Well,
in my
we
first term and,
Yeah.
you know,
We discuss it every year.
Yeah.
And like I know Shelley's
both
done
in
it. and
yeah, exactly.
Looked at reducing the number and we can't save costs, like there's a minimum cutoff that she's using.
That's a question about the calendar.
Yeah.
Has it ever been approached or considered approaching local businesses to advertise to offset some of the cost of the calendar, so it's not 6,000?
That's right.
Number one.
Yeah. Even the pictures, like somebody could buy the picture.
Advertising.
I would say
You
no.
can't even get a
Answer.
arena
I know.
advertising.
Yeah.
Can, we still follow up.
Yeah.
It could be.
We've got lots of businesses.
Now you're helping the businesses and you're also offsetting your costs.
Yeah.
You know anybody?
No.
Much on what month would it be? A beer? Oh, a beer too.
Yeah.
Could it be with?
Put them on summer.
We got a Point Brewery month.
It's a good idea.
It is.
That's something that what we're not good at is getting sponsorships.
Yep.
You know, we don't really pursue like we could.
Like, but part of that's resources. Like we'd have to pay somebody to go out and do that.
But again, if you pay a 15%
Right.
commission
No,
on,
and we tried that.
yeah, on
once, didn't
$10,000 revenue.
We
Not
entertained it once,
Specifically for the calendar. there
yeah,
was
for the
some-
arena
for the
advertising.
arena.
It never come to fruition.
But we can investigate. I mean, it might be a pretty simple thing to do. I think we have a contact list for businesses.
Yeah.
And not too hard to send out an email and say, you
Well,
know,
Shelley's got that list.
would you willing to sponsor a month for $500 and we'll just pay for it?
Yeah. Even if it's a small logo in the corner of the existing picture,
Yeah,
like you wouldn't give them the whole page, but I mean, like they would,
They would sponsor a page.
yeah,
You
yeah,
want to Do options, right? You want this side, it's.
Yeah.
everything else.
oh, yeah. You could have packages, yep.
So yeah, we can look at that. and just
Why don't it just be a picture of the business, give them the whole page, right? We do it already.
Sponsored. by-
I think we'd get feedback on that if all of a sudden it was just a,
Local
Yeah.
businesses.
Yeah,
Takes away from
they want the beauty and the,
Dollars, fries.
yeah,
the bridge
Nothing more
picture.
beautiful.
yeah, because nobody's seen it before.
Anyway,
Yeah.
like, again, we're not gonna get into the details
No,
of
that's-
how we're gonna.
We're
move
working
forward, but
Could
that's an
we
idea.
incorporate the emergency management, your magnet that you wanted to, distribute? Could that be incorporated into the calendar to save the cost there?
Well,
that possible?
the magnet itself is
I didn't see it.
individual emergency types.
Okay.
And then, kind of a flip to it. I don't know how you build that into a calendar.
No, that's okay. I couldn't see what was.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't share that around very well. I just looked at it myself and.
No problem.
Okay, as long as it's.
But we can, again, we can look in there.
Yeah.
Is there any bad, we can
Yeah, for sure.
look into them and see what we can come up with.
The other thing is, and I don't have much to say about it, but because I don't know how it's run, the appreciation night, the 15,000, is that sort of the standard cost? Is that typically?
We took it up last year, $3,000, I think. We went from 12 to 15
That sounds very to me.
because we had downsized over a couple of years and then after COVID, we wanted to go back to the way it sort of more the way it had been in the past, a little bit dressier than that, and we went to 15.
And we went to, I think the bigger was we invited the people.
Oh,
we had
that
been
was,
inviting
yeah,
all
we went
along.
up and invited more.
When, COVID, the first year we didn't do it at all. I think the second year we might have had something. But maybe not even, maybe we had 2 years of it.
I think it was 2 years.
And then, yeah, it was 2 years without the fall. And then the third year, we scaled back quite a bit. We didn't invite the OPP, we didn't invite, we invited any county, like there was probably
you know, we know our reps.
30, 40, 50 people who didn't invite. And we felt, I think the feeling council and myself was that you created a little bill will, but we thought the investment to invite them out, show appreciation, was worth spending the $3,000 or $4,000 extra dollars to be able to show our appreciation.
Okay, so the opinion would be that there's no wiggle room in that dollar amount then?
I think on that topic, we had a lot of empty tables last year, and spent a lot of money on food that didn't get eaten. So I don't know whether there's a way to fix that or address that, but, and obviously they were based on our SVPs that just failed to show. So I think I counted 3 or 4
Yeah.
tables that were empty, and that's, I don't know what that's indicative of, either,
Ignorance,
what's that?
ignorance.
Yeah, that's possibly it, yes.
I mean, if people say they're gonna come and they don't show up,
Yeah,
I mean,
We're spending
Shelley
money on
would set
food.
tables for the people she
Yeah.
had responsible
Yeah.
for. She's not gonna set 4 extra tables.
Yeah.
So if people say they're gonna come and they don't,
so that was, so we had 30 people not show at probably $50 a person.
it wouldn't be that much, but it'd be, I would, probably $30.
When you consider all the table settings, all the,
Sure, I suppose.
Yeah,
right,
take
and
all the costs.
the food, all the costs, you're into probably $1,500 right there that we didn't need to spend, that we spent. So I think, you know, and the question comes up every year, is it time to rethink the whole appreciation party and how it's held and how it's conducted, or people become tired of it? I don't know.
Okay, but that's a conversation that can be had. Another
Yeah.
time, I'm sure, but
I think we need to commit now to, we want to spend money on a
Mhm.
Christmas type event. It's just,
okay. That answers my question. Thank
Yep.
you.
We also, use it like service awards get handed
Of
out that
course,
night,
yeah.
you know.
I'm not saying you should
No,
do it
no,
at
I get
all.
it. It is.
Yeah.
But, you know, might see how it goes one more year and then might have to make a decision if people. You should know who did that. And strike them from the list. Unless it was, you know, I got hit by a car.
I had just had a baby,
Oh,
so
yeah, right.
pretty
But you
much the
probably
same
didn't
thing,
tell
right?
us you were coming.
I did not tell you. so-
Yeah.
And
I said, I
yes,
expect you on
people get sick
Yeah,
and that kind of thing happens. So,
Thanks for
Yeah.
filling in for me.
yeah.
um,
and then on the offset, I eat for 2 people, so. So.
And I took food home.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I brought my Tupperware.
Okay.
So the only thing left in capital is donations. Do you want to break for lunch or do you go through donations?
I heard a rumor the food's here, so
I can smell it.
It is.
The chair calling a recess?
Yeah,
let's break.
it's a nutrition break, not recess.
Yeah.
How long are we breaking for?
Yeah, that's what I
Half an
wanted.
hour?
Half an hour? Yeah, I gotta run.
I'm gonna go home and
Yeah.
nurse the baby.